something as a junior and senior in high school.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
That's fantastic. And if you're thinking that it should be required. One of them required credits. It's plain and simple. Balancing a checkbook, one how to do the dishes, learning how to unplug a brain cell. There's certain things that trade schools that we don't learn anymore because we push college. You know what? I don't even know as my 5 times 7 to the 8th power is ABC.
They're coming back.
I need to know how to develop it. I need to know how to not use the whiteboard. There's certain things
Hey, Jason.
What's going on, guys? Sorry I'm late.
I was just about to do the intro, but with the phone, it just like pulls you right in. So let's just do it. What's up? So, guys, what's up? We got People in the Boxes, episode number, I forgot the episode, 78. 78. It's on my screen, but it's kind of, there we go. Number 78, guys. It's been a wild ride, and it is Thursday night, as usual, 8 o'clock Central Time. What it is January 25th now, 2025 or 2024. Geez, yesterday was 24, so I'm moving the year date as well. Anyway, it's 2024, everybody. So tonight is going to be fun. Actually, I think I'm excited about this one. So it might be a little slow start, but we got 14 awesome people in here. Actually, 30 if you count Rumble. What's up, Rumblers? Anyway, so if you could, guys, please do us a favor, hit that like button, smash the like button, share us out. We're gonna do the wheel again. We're gonna do a wheel again just to get some excitement going. And I actually really enjoyed this People in the Boxes wheel. It is annoying doing the wheel, but at the same time, it's better than any hashtag ever. Really, I'll be honest. So we're gonna get it going. Tonight's topic. It's not just a one-word topic, population, sort of like there's a lot of conversations about population control. There's also a lot of conversations about whether or not you want to have kids in today's world. There are people that are single parents, doing it the difficult way and stuff. So we're going to go through the gambit of it, because I was talking in the private chat with our co-host. And there's a few things that people may not know about, like things like assisted suicide or things like euthanasia, things like, I don't know what they called it. There was a term for it, but they, and again, I'm going to look this up, but either Iceland or Greenland, one of those countries had sort of purged their eugenics. That's the word. Yes. Purge their population of any sort of, defects or any genetic issues at all, really. I don't know how fine they went if they got rid of like people with red hair and freckles or not, but maybe we'll find that out tonight. But yeah, I mean, it's an intense topic, you know, but at the same time, I think a lot of people are going to have something to say about it for sure. So let me know if you want to come up on the screen, and shouts out real quick to Vet Codes. We are live on Vet Codes. We're live on Waylon the Indoor Farmers page on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch and X and Instagram, Kick. I see somebody already popped through on Instagram. What's up, Instagrammers? And Rumble, of course. What's up, Eric? I see you on the Rumble. What's up, Grassroots? I have red hair and freckles. Well, you know, maybe you might be part of the. They might even purge people with left-handedness. I don't know. We'll have to look into. I know for a fact it was about Down syndrome for sure. They definitely did that. So we're going to look into that tonight, guys. Obviously, this show is about sharing our experiences on the topic, not just our opinions, but you know, let us know what you think. Are you somebody that's afraid to have more children? Are you somebody that wants more? Or were you, against having them in the first place? Let's hear it. And if you want to come up on the screen, I'm going to and you're left-handed too. Grassroots, geez, you got the double whammy. All right. I'm going to put the link in the comments because we want more people to come up, guys. This isn't just the Jason, Kim, and Waylon show. We want you to come up and help share topics or share with us. Actually, I need to resend that link because I accidentally hit the / I don't know if it messes it up. So I'm going to resend it on Waylon the Indoor Farmer page. If you want to come up, the StreamYard link is there. Now, I'm done rambling. Hi, Jason.
What's up, mate?
I'm gonna do this wheel. You guys are gonna have to carry it for a while. Anybody that says that they liked and shared the video, send me the link.
You got Miss Charlene right off the bat.
All right.
Yeah, she's sharing it out and tagging people right off the bat. You know her. I have not seen anybody else say that yet, though.
That's okay. I hadn't said nothing yet about it. So
Grassroots said send him the link. I'm
working on it. I'm going to send it to your Grassroots account there. I don't know which one you're on it now, I guess, but I used another account.
Val shared out.
Got you, Val. Got you, Jess. All right, awesome. I might pull the wheel up just so people know what's going on as they come in.
I've seen Mr. Bradley Gibson in a while. Hello, brother.
Yeah, Bradley, I tagged him the other day, just tagging people, and he was on his way to work or something, but stopped in anyway. Say hi. Jess, Rosebud, I got you.
A while. Good to see you, man.
Been working hard, I guess. He said it.
Harry shared and liked.
Val, I got you. What's up, Rob? Got somebody from my childhood, from my school, from my local area coming through for a change. I saw my mom in here earlier. She didn't say nothing yet, but hi, Mom, if you're still hanging out listening.
Harry Wood tagged.
All right, I'm going to put this wheel on the screen so that people can see it a little bit.
Harry Wood, Lisa May, Michelle, Chad.
Can we do something like this? Hey, that works. Kind of works.
Michelle Paris.
Hey, guys. We actually have a special guest here right now that I was hoping would make it. And we've got our friend from X, guys. You've been laughing at me out there. You've been laughing at me. But we've got our friend from formerly known as Twitter, but now X, my man G-Lo. What's up, G-Lo?
Man. How you doing?
Good, man. Actually, I'm gonna fix my screen again because I'm covering Kim up now. What's up, G-Lo? We got you're all the way. You're coming from I don't even know what you call it, your time zone.
Well, I go back and forth Hawaii and Oregon, but I'm in Oregon now. I'll be here for.
I forgot.
Yeah.
But Hawaii though, Hawaii is so cool. Like we've never had anybody from Hawaii on, so I'm really excited about that. Let's see.
I love this setup. What's up, everybody? Good to meet and see you guys.
I'm trying to figure out the best one for us. I think this will work for now, I guess. But I'm trying to get people to see the wheel because, like I said earlier, we're going to do this. We're getting people on the wheel as they like and share us out. Now, so G-Lo, I know we don't have you all night, my friend, but appreciate you coming on, and maybe we'll see you again. But tonight's kind of a heavier one, a little bit of a heavier topic. So, and I don't know if you wanted me to, you didn't really say anything about this, but G-Lo's actually a pastor too, guys, as well as a podcast host and other things, does a lot of stuff. So I like that angle. And actually, we're having our other friend who's a pastor come up right now. I send him the link. He's on his way. Mr. Grassroots. So this should be a good topic. Because I will say this, I was not that religious growing up. I did go to several churches out of curiosity, but I've become more so as things have gotten crazier in the world. And one of the biggest things that I've changed on is that I think we need more kids. I think we need more people. Maybe not just willy-nilly, try to do it in the somewhat right manner, maybe with some kind of a relationship, right? But
That helps.
it helps. But that's kind of where we're going with this topic today. Like, I know there are people out there who really truly believe that the world is too crazy to bring kids up in today. So, I wonder what everybody's opinion is on that, or shared experience. How many kids do you have?
Well, I'll jump in because I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
actually
hear it.
getting ready for my podcast. I got to go. Believe it or not, I'm going to have my daughter do my hair and probably clean up my face a little bit. But I got 4 kids. Nothing. I would say this: nothing can prepare you to be a parent. I don't care how many degrees or education things you got under your belt. The way I look at it, our kids are a gift. We're not supposed to have kids at all, medically speaking, and well, we got them. So I will say, anybody that's contemplating about having children, I will encourage people to remember that it's not guaranteed that you can have kids when you say you want to have them. It's never a guarantee, right? So I guess the other option is, well, let's get ourselves ready to have them at whatever cost. I don't believe in that thought process. Well, the world sucks, so let's not have any more kids.
Right.
I just personally think that's kind of I don't want to say cop out. I don't have any other words, so I don't want to offend anybody. But it's almost like a cop out to where I don't want to fight or battle to make this place better for my kids. I want to wait till everything works out.
You hear it a lot, though, don't you? We hear it more these days than we used to.
I mean, I have the same concerns as a parent. Like, that's why. So a lot of things we do are very proactive as parents. So we teach our own kids, and I'm just speaking for myself, right? So I was a public of private school and private school. I went to public and Christian schools, so I have a mixture of both. I went to college, but now that I'm a parent, it's like, okay, I want to be responsible for my kids' education. Maybe my parents couldn't do it because maybe they felt they weren't smart enough. But this is 2024. Like, kids are going to learn way faster no matter who's teaching them, whether it's an institution or the parents, just because of technology. So we homeschool our kids, and we're responsible, and we can't blame anybody. And the last thing I will say about that is, people say, well, aren't you worried about their social life? And I'm like, bro, you're 47 years old. You're still going to nightclubs, and you're talking to me about social life. So I get it, though. In a nutshell, that's what I was saying. Like, man, just go out there and not do it, but like you said, do it. Let's be responsible.
Don't be afraid of the responsibility, I guess, is the key.
Yeah.
People are afraid of it because it's like, this life is in my hands, and like, maybe not always. Some people, I guess, are like, I can't do that. I'm gonna, But Jason's got.
You mentioned social life right there for your kids. The girl that I'm dating right now has 4 boys, and they went to a birthday party the other night, and it was a sleepover, and it was bring your own TV and bring your own game system sleepover.
Oh, wow.
Bring your own TV?
Bring your own TV and bring your own game system. That way they could all sit in different rooms and play video games together. Because video games now, you can't play like we did when we were kids. You played on the same screen. There's so much. So the sociability aspect of it, it's still there with that, but it's a little, I don't know. I feel like it's stretching it with social. We're not sociable anymore. Our kids aren't social anymore. Even if they're involved with sports and stuff, they're not social like we were as children.
People that golf at the homeschoolers because they think that it's sort of like a embedded assumption from 30 years. But I don't think anyone has it down right now. Socializing, like we're kind of all like we've been thrown a wrench by this internet, this social media thing. and a lot of us don't know how to handle it.
Well, what's the model for social, right? I mean, you think about it. Okay, let's say I do put my kids back in the educational system, public or private. Well, what's the model that they have? Even the best model, socially speaking, is still someone else teaching my kids 7 hours a day. Even the best system in the world, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's like if I was a police officer and my wife was a nurse, obviously we can't homeschool our children, right? So that's a obvious. So I'm not saying this is for everybody, but the truth is 7 to 8 hours a day, someone else is teaching my children if they're not under my care. And for me, we can't have that. Like that's just our personal conviction. Now when they're 18, go see the world, right? Start your own business, whatever. Actually, my youngest daughter already has a business. We just haven't filed all the business filings for her, but we're teaching her that. And all my kids are smart. They're way ahead of their. I don't even know what grade they're in, to be honest with you. I have no, and I don't care what grade they're in. I just know how smart they are. Grades are kind of like a caste system. You guys know in India they have the caste system, right?
Yeah.
Which is a hierarchy of who you are as a person. No, like my kids are not seventh grade; they're whatever grade they want to be. So
No, what do you recommend to because it does take financial stability to be
That's
able to homeschool.
that's a
You
great
know,
question. It is.
so what would your recommendations be for somebody that maybe might not be in that actual financial stability, have them resources?
So now you get into a personal philosophy on life. Now it's not just about finances, right? You think it is, but it's not. So I'll give you a good example. One of my cousins, she's very wealthy. She's a doctor. You would think that she's better off financially because she's a doctor. Well, no, she just has 3 car payments that are not Hondas or Toyotas. Her car payments are BMWs and Teslas, and so she has a bigger financial bank account, but percentage wise her money is the same. So the lifestyle didn't change, right? So when we talk about homeschooling, well, you got to make a decision. What do you actually require as a family? And we've been sold this package. Mom and dad need to go to work so they can pay the mortgage and have the car payments and have the 2-week Disneyland vacation every year in August. That's the package we've been sold.
Well, hold on. A little more to that is that we've been sold since we were kids. When you're 18, you're out of here, son, daughter. It's going to be not in an angry way, but it's like, oh man, finally the kids are 18. Oh great, they're out of the house. Like that's kind of been a stigma, or not a stigma, but like the wrong way to think of family. Go ahead.
I will say you're right. Culturally speaking, that's true. Now it depends on where you grew up as well.
Sure.
So in Hawaii, we still have that village mentality mindset in the sense that it does take a village to raise a family. So just because kids turn 18, they're not required to leave the house and go to college. Now, most of them do. But when I got married, I lived with my parents for the first 2 years. It was hard. It was tough.
Do now. Yeah.
But that's the culture, right? It's like, so I think it depends on the culture because we have a lot of Polynesian, Hawaiian, Samoan, Chinese, Japanese, Korean. A lot of the people on the Asian side of the planet still have that live at home with family mentality. And then when mom and dad get old, no, you're not going to a care home. You're going to live with me. We're going to take care of you until you die.
We need to get back there.
Yeah. So now going back to the original one, we're making the decision. How do you make the financial? It's hard. I ain't going to lie, bro. Jason, I tell you, going out to eat every week, every 3 or 4, no, not anymore. Like I'm not saying now, but when we first started, there was a lot of changes we had to make. But the bonus to that is that you have more sit at the table family time with those kind of decisions. So it really depends on, do you really need that $600, $700 a month car payment, or can you get by with a rusty Toyota for the next 5 years?
Right.
And
that's the thing. You can make the sacrifices for small periods of time.
Yeah.
Definitely be able to make sacrifice small period. It's not going to be forever that you're going to be driving that rusty Toyota. So,
I say rusty because everything in Hawaii gets rusty, but I know in the general idea, the mainland things don't get rusty as fast.
well, I'm in Michigan, so everything gets rusty here in Michigan too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's everything gets rusty in Michigan. Uh,
Actually,
but now, have you found that with homeschooling that you have learned more also yourself?
oh of course. My
Okay.
kids teach me. I'm gonna brag up on my kids. I'm gonna look at your
Yeah.
names. So, Waylon, Val, Kim, Jason, Allen. I'll tell you this much: I can bring my youngest son in here right now, and he will educate all of us on the World War One and Two, who are the Axis powers. I promise you, he'll teach you everything about dates, how many people died. I mean, he's
specific.
weird. So yeah, you learn a lot, and your kids will learn more than you, and I think that's what it should be, right? Our kids should be smarter than us. I mean, I think they should be.
We always want our kids to be better than we are as parents and
Yeah.
as providers. So whatever we can do
Sure.
to further them, that's kind of
Yeah.
what our main goal is.
Hi, Alan. Hi, Val.
Good,
Hi,
to,
guys.
good
Good
to
day,
meet you.
everybody.
Good
Thanks for
evening.
hopping in.
Hey, from VA,
Virginia,
Virginia.
Virginia.
Alan and I are
I used
both
to live in
representing.
Guam, and
Oh
I've
yeah.
been to Hawaii quite a few times. I've got family that lives in Maui right now. So
Guam,
been to
Guam
Hawaii
is
quite a bit, and I love it there, man. It's beautiful.
Guam is our they're our sweaty brother and sister. They're the hot, sticky.
Oh my God, it's terrible, man. 99,
I lived
100%
on
humidity
Guam
all the
twice.
time.
Oh, so it's hotter and stickier in Guam than it is in Hawaii. Okay.
Yeah,
Generally, yeah, because it's a little bit more south.
and you're near the equator a little more.
Rains every day.
What's funny though is in places like
Am I
in the-
muted?
you said it rains every day.
I said I lived there for 5 years. I was there twice.
Yeah.
I almost got Guam and Singapore mixed up in my head as I was thinking. But yeah, the quality of life and the respect for life is a lot different. When you take out the whole cookie cutter the fakeness of the West, as far as we pretend like we have such a high value in life, but yet we still do a lot of, But when you go to say like India, like in some place where they still chop a hand off, like they got a different set of rules, and people are like a little bit more think twice to do things like that. I think capital punishment is something that has some merit to it, like I guess.
Yeah, I can tell you, man. I worked for the government, DoD, for about 20 years, and during that time, I had the chance to go work over at the shipyards over in Pearl, and I can tell you, man, like my man is saying here, the family connection, right? I mean, just the desire to bond and be together and to create family. What's the word for family again?
Ohana.
Ohana, yeah. They talk a lot about Ohana there. So when I went to Hawaii and visited, man, and I was watching the people working in the shipyard, you could see the brotherly and sisterly love, like the pride in their heritage and who they are and what they do. And then you come to places around here in Virginia, like the shipyards, the local ones, man, it's completely opposite, man. And when the guys from Hawaii will come over to the shipyard and over here in Norfolk or whatever in Portsmouth, and they're like, man, this place is terrible, man. Everybody hates each other. It's like, I mean, it's just a weird divide how you can go from main continent country, how we are, to versus going to Hawaii, and it's a completely different world over there. We talk
What do
about
you
our
think it
kids, you could see how that piece would definitely help the children when it comes to family and love and all that good stuff.
I'll tell you what it is, Waylon. It's so, and I don't preach a lot on X, but I've been known to share a few biblical references. But when God, when He sent the angel to shut down the Garden of Eden, and He put the angel at the entrance of the garden, and basically all man was not allowed to go back to the Garden of Eden. Well, He forgot about Hawaii, So I joke about that, but Hawaii, all cultural upbringings aside, when you look at Hawaii in itself, we are an island, a series of islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. 82 degrees, 365 days a year. We don't have anything crazy that would kill you weather-wise, unless an occasional hurricane that gets crazy every 30 years or so. But other than that, we're very grateful. Like we have the best weather. We can grow food 365 days out of the year. Like there's no rush to go anywhere. Um, if I don't like you because you're white, black, Mexican, I don't care. Like where am I going to go if I don't like you? I've got to figure it out because guess where we are, family. We're still in a tiny little rock in the middle of the ocean. So we figure out how to get along and to take care of one another. And I think that just, aside from the culture aspect, the fact that we live in an island, that's a huge deal. That really changes the climate of how we treat each other, right?
Yeah, because you can't just expand without aren't there very, very strict rules there on like what can be built when and where, and like what land can be used? I mean,
yeah, there's rules,
limitation.
but there rules aside, there's not much land to begin with. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
yeah,
it's like where do you go? So I wonder if there's any really tall buildings in Hawaii. I've never been.
yeah, in Oahu.
Hey,
yeah, Oahu has.
Sorry.
you
What's
just 'cause I
crazy
haven't
about
been.
Hawaii is you can be in the city at 1 minute and then you can drive, 30, 40 minutes and you're in farmland where there's cattle and beautiful fields and mountains. I mean, it's beautiful out there.
So in Oahu,
Hey, Derek.
you have the Waikiki, or you have the biggest. So Honolulu is actually bigger than the city of Portland. If you guys ever been to Portland. And so our city's pretty big. I would say about 1 million people just in that tiny little island itself. The entire island is practically a city if you do the square miles. But he's right. Yeah, a few minutes you're in a country. But it's funny over here in Oregon. When I'm in Oregon,
Cheers, everybody.
It's like people are always in a rush. Like I gotta go 100 miles an hour so I can go to the grocery store and get my milk. And if you're gonna take that parking space, I'm gonna get it before you because I want it first. And that's the mentality, right? Like I'm gonna get there first. Hurry up, you're too slow or whatever. So
That's because I come back to this. We have too much entertainment, and I say that being someone who's trying to entertain right this minute. But this show is not just about entertainment. We all, anyone who's been seeing this show at all would know that we wouldn't talk about some of the topics we do if we were trying to just be fun and entertaining. We've had crying, we've had ups and downs for sure. So this show has other meanings and other uses, but at the same time, there's too much. You can watch TV for your whole life and never see it all now.
Well, it's funny that you're talking about Hawaiian time. Because I got a couple of buddies that have moved here from Hawaii, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll be there in a little bit." And I'm like, "Is that Hawaiian time, or is that I'll actually be there in a little bit?" Because it might be 3 hours later they come strolling in, like 3-4 hours. Well, yeah, Hawaiian time, man. We good. And it's true. You guys live by a different time over there. Everything moves at a much slower pace, I feel. Just life in general does. It's just more laid back, relaxed, and
do people have kids there, you think, in general? Because
more. It's more family oriented because of that.
Okay, I guess my question is
carry on the traditions of the family.
Right, and I think to a large degree, like Hispanic families are very similar as far as family is important. But my point is, like, even those communities, I'm wondering if they are being affected too. The rest of us have already completely disconnected from our families, but even those communities have to be being affected by this. You're too easily able to access people on your phone that agree with you on everything versus your family that might not, And so, but to the population specifically, it's much easier to deal with someone on the screen than it is to go to their house, talk to them in person, actually feel the emotion that's happening, and I think that's part of it, the disconnection. We have now created, I think there's an artificial womb so now men don't need women to have babies because we've created an artificial womb that can carry the baby.
No, negative.
I'm all about eggs too.
I'm organic, bro. That's just
right. Keep it organic.
Organic.
I wouldn't even squeeze that baby out there.
So
Right.
No,
when do
they
you
don't put
think
it in
it
there, but
started, Waylon?
it's separate
When
from
do you think it started leaning away from being more secluded, being more antisocial?
our independence. When we're able to, as soon as you were able to be an adult and live on your own in an apartment somewhere, um, that's where we lost it. Okay, so I always go back to that show, The Waltons.
So you're
You
saying
know,
as a kid we're good, but once we get in our independence, that's when we want to be more secluded and alone.
we
And
we started outsourcing things that our family used to do. Things like now we go to nursing homes instead of, like you said earlier, G-Lo, with the family, the elders. They weren't going to some nursing home. The elders would be like today in today's world, we could make it to where as you phase out of the working age, you're the homeschooling age. Grandma, grandpa, maybe until they get to where there's like they don't know where they are. My point is like there's a role for everybody, and if maybe you're not able to bring home the bacon like we used to do, the single, like the one parent would stay home, one parent would go to work. We could still do this thing where you have your whole family. I don't want my whole family in my house. I have a new idea of where I want a few acres and I want to have multiple
so you want a
buildings.
homestead.
Kind of yeah, well, I definitely want a homestead, but
An
separate from the
enclave.
right, separate from the sustainability side of it. I want to have buildings that my family can move into if they need a place to stay, but not in my house. Like
So
you
my
can
dad
literally-
used to live with us in Oregon. So my dad, he's kind of a nomad, so he travels the nation in his car. That's his deal. He's in his late 70s. He wants
he's
to
awesome, by the way. You guys got to check out G-Lo's video where he interviews his dad on Twitter. I don't know where else it's at, but it's awesome. Go ahead.
uh, so I guess he got to the point where my dad loves us, but he don't want to deal with extra noise. So he got a camper and he's on the same property, but he's just outside of the house. So that's an ideal situation, right? To have everybody together, but not in the same house. That's what was the word? Homestead. I think that's the
Yeah.
word you use. That would be ideal. And hey, I hate to pull the trigger on me leaving so quick, but I got to get ready.
Fine, bro.
I'm going to be live in a few minutes, but thank you, everybody.
Great to
It's
meet
nice
you,
meeting
G-Lo.
you guys, and one of
meet
many
you.
Where
Waylons.
can we find you, man?
Everywhere you can find my username. I'll
Okay.
type it in the chat, or I'll type it in. I'll type it
If
in.
you, I
It was
mean,
very great talking to you, man. Really, really appreciate it. So
So
yeah,
I'll type
we've
it in
got
a
your
private
beak wet. We've got your beak wet. I'm sure you'll come back. Sometimes they're very mundane topics, but they actually turn out to be pretty good. We talked about shoes for 2 hours one night. That was crazy.
All right. I put it in the chat. Thank you guys. Waylon, you rock, bro. I'm glad that I came.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
yeah,
Yeah, have a great show.
night.
When is your show anyway? From this point?
In about 20 minutes, I'm going to have my daughter finish my hair. I'm going to wash my face and get a quick cup of coffee. And then,
Cool.
All right, guys.
Check him out.
Have a good
Check
one.
him out on
night.
on X for sure, but I know he said he's on multiple platforms.
Chris said he shared there, Waylon.
Chris,
I
thanks,
think we
Chris.
already had Shane on the list.
You're a
just
wiener,
left?
Beanie.
Bean never shares. He don't get to get on the list.
Yeah, but he's a wiener.
He shares his video into like every inbox I've ever seen, including like I think he's sharing to my mom now somehow. I don't know how he's doing that, but it's like crazy. Bean, come on up here.
Somehow he got on my friends list and I didn't even accept him. It was just, he's like, no, I'm getting on there.
Oh,
Yeah, nefarious ways.
my bad. G-Lo, I'm gonna put up his on a
Oh,
banner.
he put in the private chat,
Yeah,
didn't he?
I got it.
Yep. Okay.
If anyone is looking to find our man G-Lo. Now, like I said, I'm hoping to get him back.
Derek, I said coffee, but I haven't made any yet.
I shared my company. He said, "No, you didn't get up here." Ass hat. There's a guy on Rumble that came through that was not on Facebook, and his name was American Shitbag.
American shitbag. Huh?
Yeah.
I
I'm
know
like,
someone.
oh, okay. Eric was talking with him for a minute. Eric, did you hear that? I got an echo. Does anyone hear an echo?
No.
Does anyone hear an echo?
I hear an
Does anyone
echo.
hear an echo? Is that
I
right?
hear an echo.
Plug your ears.
Well,
Maybe
I wasn't complaining. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying.
there seriously is an echo. I don't know why.
Kim, did you send me a friend request from a different page or a different profile?
Yeah,
Okay. I just want to make sure it's you.
yeah, it is. It's my original Facebook account.
Yeah, we're good.
It started out like when Facebook first became a thing. It started out as my original account, and then I got into playing Mafia Wars, and I had like 5,000 friends playing Mafia Wars. So I opened this account, and I've used this account, and then when Mafia Wars ended, I don't really haven't opened another account. But every time I get put in Facebook jail, I resurrect. So.
Chris, that was it there. Here it is right here, guys. This is G-Lo, Greg Lopez. He's awesome. The real Greg Lopez. You'll see him.
Smashley, what are you doing? Get up here.
That's the kind.
Come on, Smashley. You have several children. We want to hear about it. What made you think of it? It's homestead life, you know. Like it used to be, and this is not the only reason, but I think it used to be that we had a lot of kids because several of them wouldn't make it.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know? Okay, so I'm gonna push back right now.
Cultural. There's a lot of cultural reasons behind.
Like the Wild West, I'm thinking. Kim,
well, not just Wild West, but like yes, you had children that wouldn't make it, but also you needed, if you had a homestead, you needed people to help you.
Yes, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
People would sell their kids too,
religious reasons. Mm-hmm. You had religious reasons, like Catholics. Mm-hmm. I don't know if any of you guys are Catholic, but I live in a predominantly Catholic area. And Catholics, they're against birth control, the churches. So,
well, there's a little political reasons for not having kids. There's certain countries that don't allow. After you got to have one boy and one girl, and that's it. And after that, you're done.
Look at how many billions of people you have in those countries too.
Yeah.
So.
You guys hear an echo when I mute? When I mute, do you hear an echo?
Echo.
Hello?
Do you hear an echo now, Tim?
Hello?
Mm-mm.
No.
So it is me somehow?
Well, I don't know if it was you, but there was an echo. I don't know what was causing it.
And you were there? And you were there?
I don't think I hear it anymore, though.
Yeah, I might have fixed it. I turned my volume down on the TV. Sometimes it's a backlash.
Yeah, I believe it gets hard because I live in the United States, and I believe we are a free country. So you should have the right to choose whether you want an abortion or not.
You think so?
You should have the right to choose how many kids you have. But then in the same breath, I'm like, if you can't take care of them motherfucking kids, then you shouldn't be able to have them kids.
The burden on the society definitely is a bad thing. Now, I don't believe in abortion, but I also don't believe the government should be in it either way. So I think what Alan might agree with is like, listen, you're not getting around judgment eventually. So if you decide whatever you decide to do in this life, it is what it is. It's going to be on your tally. So, like you don't have to worry about daddy judge or daddy government to be like looking down on you or whatever. I definitely agree with some amount of shunning. Shunning is not always a bad thing. Not shunning, but like a sort of a cultural norm or looking down on certain things. Like I've done some of the things that we used to look really. You used to have to get out of town if you had a child out of wedlock or this or that. And it's like here we are doing it every day. Hey, all right. Look what we got.
There he is, Beanie.
What's going on, y'all?
What we got right here? All right.
What's going on, everybody? How are we doing?
Not bad, Dean. Not bad. So you've been listening. I've seen you in the comments. What do you think? What do you think?
What's the general consensus? More kids or less kids?
I think for us on screen, we all see the value of more kids, but at the same time, we also see the difficulty in them.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy nowadays.
I think for me, it depends on what country we're talking about. Like India, what I had this debate with a friend recently, and I can't remember how we got on the topic, but I know what it was. He was giving me shit about taking the jab. And I told him, whatever, I'm not into that. Whatever, you have your opinion, I have my opinion. And so anyway, we ended up on population control. And I told him, I said, well, the earth has always had a way of taking care of itself. The plague came about and wiped out people. And, there's always been a way, whether it's some kind of a disease or some kind of a phenomenon, natural phenomena, like a volcano or, whatever, flood, whatever, the earth has always had a way of cleansing itself,
Godzilla. Oh, sorry.
Whether you want to believe that's, whatever your religious background is or non-religious background is going to temper how you think about that. But the fact of the matter is that the earth can only sustain so much life. And I think we're reaching a pinnacle where, it's not going to sustain people. I mean, we've already depleted soil, there's just a lot, we've developed plastics. We were watching something every Wednesday. We watch this news segment that gives you like a smattering. It's 10 minutes of news bites that are directed towards student populations. And they were talking about, where was it? It was over in Ethiopia, I think. And they were talking about this guy was recycling plastic and using it in building materials. And they showed this picture that looked an awful lot like India, but of just these huge piles of refuse, and much of that is plastic. And a lot of that plastic, people don't realize you can't recycle it. There's no way to certain plastics cannot be recycled. And so and the kids were saying, well, Miss, what do they do with that? Do they burn it or what do they do? And I'm like, well, no, some countries might burn it. It just depends on the country, but most of it gets buried in the earth, and what is that going to do to the soil? What is that? I mean,
well,
it's unusable because
nature finds a way, like you said, though.
Yes, it does.
Yes. We've already found fungus and we've found bacteria, both that are able to eat plastics. Now, that's kind of off topic in a way, but also brings us to the fact that that's a big reason why people say they shouldn't have kids. Because of climate change or whatever. There's a lot of people that I've heard personally say that's we can't even take care of this planet. Why should we have more kids? So that is a big thing.
The thing is like in developed countries like the United States, many of countries in Europe, they don't typically overpopulate, but you go into some of these other countries like China and India and, those areas over in there. And it's like, they're just overrun with humans.
Yeah.
And they don't have, a lot of those places do not have good quality of life. And so those are the places where, I don't know, like.
Unfortunately, Kim, some of those places like you're talking about, a lot of the women who get pregnant are raped.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the reality. If you go to some of these countries that have all these kids and you look at the populations and you realize that the women are treated like dirt.
Oh, yeah.
The men rape them on the regular and their population just goes crazy.
Yeah. And I'm not standing in judgment of anybody. I'm just saying that, a lot of these countries like that are where the populations are out of control. I don't really feel like the United States so much has a problem with population, but the
United States is dropping under replacement rate. So.
Oh yeah, it's been doing that for a long time because, the more, so you guys were talking about, just how people in Hawaii and a lot of these Asian cultures and Mexican cultures have this strong family ties and how
more so than us anyway.
Well, yes, but you have to look at there's cultural variables that come in with that.
Well, because of the hardships because they don't have it so easy, they have to rely on family more like we used to. And I think that's part of it. If you can't
No,
rely on petty government, you
no,
have to rely on
there are, if you go to, if you go to sociological studies, if you look at, if you go into the field of sociology and you look at a lot of the studies that people in that field have done, there's the United European nations, the majority of European nations are independent. And a lot of that comes from Germanic ways. The Germanic tribes that invaded the Roman Empire, which is now essentially Europe, they were very independent people. They were independent people. They were out there in the world.
They didn't have family, like they weren't. Okay.
I'd say that's why the United States isn't as family oriented, is because we are super individualistic, and in those types of countries that you're talking about, family comes before the individual. Like you wouldn't do something wrong because you're going to tarnish your name for years.
Well, not only that, but those civilizations, and I don't pretend to know a lot about Asian population, their culture or anything like that. There's certain things that I know because I've studied them. But Asian cultures and Native Americans originated out of Asian cultures. Okay, so Native Americans have a sense of interdependence, which means that they all rely on each other, and they don't see themselves individually. They see themselves as a whole. And so
you see that in a lot of these cultures that come to the United States in like groups. Like I noticed it when I DoorDash that you'll enter a neighborhood and it's nothing but Indian. There's not a white person in sight. And there's a sense of community there.
What do you mean by Indian?
India?
Like
India.
Not Native Americans.
Okay.
Yeah. So like when they come to this country, you even see with Asians and stuff as well. They'll get into a community, and then you actually see a sense of community in that neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Whereas you don't see that in white neighborhoods or like Americanized neighborhoods.
But Indians are Asians. They're Asian cultures. You have Indians. You have anybody that's Asian. Typically, any country or any culture that hails from Asian roots or whatever have a sense of interdependence. And the Native Americans very much have that. The Mexicans have that because Mexican people are are actually, if you really look at it, they're probably mostly Asian, if you were to do a DNA test on them. So, and so they still, and that stuff doesn't disappear, that easily, because culture is transmitted through the family, and it's, a lot of that stuff, people may not recognize it as, oh, I'm Japanese or whatever your culture is, but they have those variables in the way that they interact and stuff. But
we did have that, like the Little House on the Prairie. We had the Waltons, right? We had that for a time.
Well, but not like Asian people did. It's very, very different. I mean,
it's very different.
But it's gotten worse. And, in my opinion, and I don't have anything statistically to back this up. I don't have anything educationally to back this
Google
up.
right here if we want to.
My hunches about stuff. But I think the reason why Americans especially have become the way that we have, so individualistic, is because our society has... we are
technology, some of it. There's a lot of things.
It's exactly that. We don't need to rely on each other to take care of each other so much anymore.
Well, I actually say part of it is the government. The welfare programs have actually caused a lot of it, I will say, but go ahead.
Well, maybe, but not everybody's been on welfare, so you can't use
that. But it's caused us to allow people who typically would have been able to afford having a kid to decide, to stay together, to decide to play this game where you get that extra check by pretending like you're separated, and maybe you still see each other.
What about the period in time where it was more profitable to worry about yourself and not worry about the family and stuff like that? I mean, it's getting even deeper and deeper into that. So, like, it's the American greed that says, look out for yourself, put the family second. Like, you got to go out there, you got to get a career, you got to do do all these things in life, and you're in a rat race until.
And they
What,
preach that to women
40s,
for so long
50s.
too. Yeah,
I
they're like,
was
women
thinking
gotta
about
get out.
that a couple of weeks ago. Being is when I
Oh,
grew
Derek.
up, my father was in the military. My mom was a bartender, so he was gone 11 months out of the year, and my mom was gone from 5 to 2 in the morning. So I really ever saw her. I just had my sister at home, and that was it. And that's how we lived. There wasn't this loving environment, this nurturing environment. There wasn't this break. Yeah, did we have Sunday meals? Yeah, every once in a while. But what I've done now, and I've been thinking a lot about that, is that dynamic that I had in my family is not the dynamic I want in my family. So, like, my parents never really told me that I love them. You know, I don't go a day without telling my kids and my wife, everybody, I love you, I love you, I love you. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to culture shift the generational, almost like a curse, is that there was no family embrace, but now me not having that, but seeing what love is and what compassion is and what loving your kids looks like, really, I'm trying to change that. So when my kids get older, they embrace the same family tradition and love and support that I raised them, not that Pop was raised in. You understand what I'm saying?
I think you're seeing a lot more and more of that in this generation, trying to correct the mistakes of the past generation and actually raise the kids with some love and compassion. And
And I
that's why you
say,
see it reflecting out into the real world, where like the kids, it's more popular to be inclusive and not make fun of kids, where in 15 years ago, like, it's cool to be the bully, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
now it's,
Yeah, I think it's
I
still
just
really
want to
bad
say
in
that
public schools, but
oh yeah.
Well,
you have to remember that the United States is a melting pot. And
not so
all,
much anymore.
yeah, but the people that are here came from somewhere else originally.
Okay.
And
And
everyone
that
brought their
sounds
own
good.
culture and their own family values and whatnot. But everyone has the choice, to do what they want. Miracle.
Yeah, but it used to be. No, I'm not going to get into that. That's too political. Never mind.
No,
No,
I
I
mean,
don't
not
have
really.
political,
Not
no.
for this show. Honestly, it's not, because people,
Hey.
that's one of the reasons people get scared when, or not scared, but like they freak out as soon as we start to get close to religion or politics. And it's like, we shouldn't be that
Yeah.
scared about it. These guys, like, that's the greatest trick the devil ever played, right? Is making you think that he doesn't exist. Well, it's that is the game right there. It's making you not be able to talk to each other
Yeah.
about hard topics is the way to keep us divided, right? And so I know where you were going is back in the Ellis Island days. You had this sense of wanting to conform to the American way of life, and nowadays you have these enclaves of different cultures being made and being sort of like isolating. They have their own
But
laws.
it wasn't.
Have their own
It
little
wasn't
like.
it wasn't a desire to conform. It was necessary.
Well, the necessity. Okay, touche.
It was assimilation was part of the rule to come here.
Touche.
Well,
Yeah,
and
and now it's not anymore.
No, it still is. I beg to differ on that because I work in public schools, and I worked at this district, in the district that's just south of the district where I currently work, back 20 years ago, and it hasn't changed that much. We have a large immigrant population here, and we always have, because we're right on the border of Mexico. I mean, literally, I can drive 30 minutes and I am at the border of Mexico. Okay. So,
let's go to Tijuana. What's that? The Simpsons episode.
It's more like Juarez.
A little further, yeah.
The Simpsons episode where the clown, what's his name, and he takes all the kids. He's got all drunk and he takes the kids. Yeah, Krusty takes the kids in the school bus to Tijuana.
Still, there's still acculturation. I don't know about with adults because I don't work with adults, but I know
is acculturation a word?
Because
Is that a word?
Assimilation.
It's acculturation.
assimilate.
Acculturation. That's where you become that acculturation. It's an academic word, but it's a fact. And you have different levels of acculturation, and these kids, at least kids are pressured. I don't know about adults.
I could understand that. Yeah,
Adults
I would say the youth is.
just as just as pressured to acculturate because you're coming into a country that's not particularly friendly to you because you're Mexican, first of all.
What?
And people don't like Mexicans. I mean, not all people, but I'm just saying.
That's
I
pretty
love 'em. I
broad.
love their
Like,
food,
plenty
too.
of people like Hispanic
I
people.
love white sauce.
Did you guys know that if you check the box Hispanic on any of these applications anywhere that asks you if that's an option, the word Hispanic, it does not mean any kind of race. It just means that you can speak Spanish. It literally just means that you can speak Spanish. No,
It's an
look it up.
ethnicity.
It means that
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
Spanish speaking.
It's an ethnicity.
I mean,
yes,
I love
yes.
Mexicans. My best friend's a Mexican. Oh, you're Filipino? Oh, my bad.
Oh, my bad.
But the fact of the matter is that there is assimilation, there is acculturation, however you want to term it, it still exists out there.
I think
Because
we're all one
Because
race.
one of the things that you find, especially with kids, is that they want to fit in. They want friends. They want to fit in. Nobody likes to feel alone. Nobody
This
likes
is why
to
we
feel
teach kids to be
lonely or
leaders, not
separated.
followers.
But you know what? The thing is I don't believe you teach anybody to be a leader or a follower. I think people naturally are one or the other.
You don't
But
think you
what
can change
about-
it?
But fear is what brings
So-
a lot of people down, and we're just supposed to teach kids to not let fear rule their decisions in life.
Yeah. So you say kids want to fit in, but what if
Amen,
it's
Joe.
what if it's a situation like I was just saying, where they move here and then they all form a community where it is only the people from back in their homeland, and they're not exactly fitting in. You know what I mean? They're still
Okay, so let me address that. Where I worked at the school district south of here, which is like literally like a couple of miles over the Mexican border, like a couple of miles, okay? The kids that had been here from Mexico longer were snobbish to the new arrivals.
Sure.
Okay, so it's like, you may have a community, because essentially that's what you had out there, was you had this community that's saturated in the predominantly with Mexican people that had immigrated here,
I see what you're saying.
5 years or less, let's say. I don't know, but
you would say it's
5
almost a
years or less.
status.
And depending on how long these kids, and this is factual, dude. There is statistics and data on this. Depending on how many years, kids had in being in the country, depended on how they treated the newer coming kids.
That makes sense.
In my opinion, it's human nature is like that.
That's-
Everybody has
I agree with that right there. It's human nature, because
I
I've
feel
seen
like
that in the
the
work industry
parents
big time.
influence it very heavily.
Okay, let's say I totally agree with you, Kim. I got to point out though, I think from Bean's perspective and my perspective, if you agree with that, but then you also take into account that it has changed in the other direction as well, as far as it's very well known. You can name probably 6 or 7 different cultures that are now sort of creating these enclaves in America, and like very like not just like Sharia law, but like there's Chinatown, but there's much more intensive areas and it's like there's different areas now, and I'm not opposed to that per se, but the point is that is different than having an assimilation. That's more like a paralleled living.
Yeah.
Side by
Well,
I could also see how
that's
I
been
can
going
see-
on since the conception of people immigrating here.
But has it gotten worse? Is what I think is the
Yeah.
point. Like,
For the entire
But-
history of this country, people have immigrated here.
I can
Right.
see how in the youth it would affect them, like to like how you said that the ones that have been here longer, because I see it like in my girl's parents. They were born in Romania, and like they pretty much compete to see who's more Americanized and like who can speak the language better and this and that. And it's like it's almost like a status symbol to say I'm more Americanized. I've assimilated to the culture better, and
maybe.
Makes
But I
sense.
can see how it would affect children better than
Sounds
it
like
would
a them
adults
problem.
that came here
Yeah.
as adults and they're not in their impressionable ages anymore. And
Right. They've already sealed their identity. They already know who they are and they're already comfortable. Typically, more comfortable. As an adult, you're typically more comfortable in your own identity, where children are more vulnerable. You don't develop your identity until your late 20s. Still
yeah.
trying to figure out who you are in your late 20s.
But
Develop.
isn't that what's awesome
Figured out
about
till
kids?
yesterday.
Isn't that what's awesome about kids? Because they don't come with the same baggage that we, like the last however many years that we remember of getting screwed over by Uncle Sam or our friends or our, whatever lovers, this and that, all this baggage that we've built up. The kids, like in their eyes, they just have this, they none of that. Like my son has none of that, but I mean, who knows? He might have some memory of me yelling at him or something, and like there's all of those things that we never even can know as parents, and that's what's intense. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, I was on the phone with my son today, video chat, and his older sisters are talking about problems they're having in high school, and it's just simple stuff I've heard a million times. And he looks at me, he's like, I have no clue what they're talking about. Like the innocence. like, all they're talking about is like teachers giving him a hard time. He's like, I have no clue. Like, that's completely out of my world.
I got you, Heather. Joe, the wheel is for a like I've been saying the last couple people in the boxes. We're going to do this every week. This is for a spot in game night, whether you pay to be in it or not. And if you do pay to be in it, you actually get an additional spot. So if you're somebody that already plays it, you probably enjoy it anyway. And for you to come in and be able to be two people you get to be on two teams, double the fun, double the chances to win, all that good stuff.
What?
So it's pretty.
I guess I'll share.
Okay, all right. Got you, Bean. I got you.
But to go back to what you said a little bit ago, Waylon, about ethnic developments, those have existed probably, God, I couldn't tell you. I don't want to.
That's not my point. My point is they've gotten much worse and much more militant to the point where they don't even abide by our laws now.
Well,
Chinese police stations in this country.
Didn't you see the movie Gangs of New York? I mean, those.
I did. Actually did like that. That was good.
Have existed since forever. Anytime you have people that feel disempowered or uncomfortable, they're going to band together, especially if they have common interests. And that's why you had those ethnic neighborhoods.
Well, exactly. That's
Italian
why
neighborhoods. I come from an Italian family. So you have Italian neighborhoods, you have Chinese neighborhoods. And the reason that they did was because they were bonded together by common language, common customs, things like that, And
let's take that race out of it and think, well, that's the nuclear family in a nutshell. When you have the world against you, all you can rely on is the person you're sleeping with and the people you made, even though that doesn't necessarily always that doesn't always work out either, right? Because a lot of people say they think you can like, I want to hear from Alan on this one. Do you think that it's true that you make your family, or do we just develop strong bonds with people that we're not blood related to?
Good night, Vicky.
I think you create those bonds, man. Because
but my point is like, oh, forget your regular family because they don't get you. Because you can go out and make your family. I don't necessarily love that implication. Our family's still our family, even though my family doesn't necessarily love what I'm doing or doesn't pay attention or whatever. Maybe I'm angry or whatever. That's not the point. If the point is they're still always going to be there and they're always going to be blood relatives,
Blood doesn't mean shit.
Maybe for some people.
Grow your family.
I don't know. Doesn't it mean shit? I mean, that's on a pretty biological, basic level. The connection we have with our
mean jack shit.
Our prodigy.
Not for everyone. It doesn't.
That's
how it just stops at the biological fact that blood.
I can rely on y'all more than I can rely on my own family.
Okay. So it's not like
Marguerite Jet.
It's a bit of both. You have your family that you have your close connections with, and then you build on that to include who you want to be.
I think what bonds you together as a biological family. It doesn't have anything, I don't think it has anything to do with genetics or anything like that. I think it's that you're raised around these people and you're socialized to see them as being a certain way, like, well, this is your dad, so you have to love them and you have to be bonded to them, and this is your brother and you have to take care of each other, and family takes care of each other. I am here to tell you, I grew up in a family. My dad was married and divorced 4 times. I was his last child. Everybody else in my family is at least 17 to 23 years older than I am. So I wasn't raised with any of my siblings. I was raised to love my brothers and sisters, but my brothers and sisters were not raised to love me, and I wasn't socialized with them. And every one of them treated me like shit. And I don't say that because of a sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
I say that because
they were already raised.
Treated me like shit. Because I didn't have any connection to them other than the fact that we shared the last name or we shared a parent.
Well,
but that's part of what we've been saying, how we've been separating for years now. But
I got a story for y'all. So about 15 years ago, I came home from church one afternoon, and this is when MySpace was a thing. And I got onto MySpace and I checked my messages, and I got this message that says, "Is your mom's name so-and-so?" And I had no idea who the person was. And I'm like, "Yeah, that is her name. Who is this question mark?" She said, "Was your dad so-and-so?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was his name." Now, I've never met my real father, right? But I have this girl on this message telling me, all this shit. I'm like, "Who the hell is this?" She says, "My name is Brittany. I have a sister, Heather. We are your half-sisters, and we've been trying to find you for the past 18 years. We've taken out newspaper ads, search ads, wanted ads, trying to find you, and the only way we found you was through MySpace." And so my point is I never knew I had biological or half biological sisters. But when I met them, because we had to meet, obviously, so we got to meet and shit. But when I met them, it was like it was an instant bond. It was like a love that we had always had. Like it was so weird. I didn't know how it was going to
speaks to your heart.
But it was like instantly we knew that, we were brother and sister, and we always communicate and stuff. But my point is I think the bonds in life are developed. And like my wife and myself, she has 2 boys from her first marriage. I have my daughter from my first marriage. Then we have Peanut together. When her 2 boys moved into the house with me and my wife, it was hard for me to be their father, one for the boys, and they already got a dad. Right, so the bond there between me and these 2 boys, it was like instantaneous, and the love that we have for our kids, even though they are not biologically our own, is no different than the ones that we have for that are biologically.
Yeah.
I will tell you that my sister was murdered back in the late 90s. We had been estranged. She got mad at me when my mom died over some stupid stuff. And she died before I could make amends with her. It wasn't my choice. I have her full brother from my mom's first marriage. We still talk, but he lives in Illinois. We're not particularly close. I love him to death. I don't know how he feels about me, to be honest with you, but I love him because I was raised to love my siblings. I was raised to love my family. But I'm just saying that my family was not raised to love me.
Yeah. So
my family, I don't consider, they're my blood family, but the people that I feel like are my family are the people that I have brought into my life and I have created those bonds with are more my family than what my own blood is.
Yeah. On that topic, just like you were saying about how it's based on you were raised around them, you had that long relationship, and that's what built that bond. Is like I talk about that in a similar way with your friends and stuff, because we were all born into an area where certain people based on my mom knew their friends or they live on the same street or whatever, so you get stuck in these relationships and you grow bonds with these people, but the main reason is just be based on proximity. It's based on the fact that you spent your life around these people, and so you feel this bond with them for a lifelong, you know what I mean? And it's just the reason that you built that bond was proximity. It was based on this is who you had to get through this life with, and that's why family's stronger, because they were in your house. Right? They were the ones really trying to keep this ship moving with you.
I have stronger bonds with the students that I have in my classroom for a year, all year long, than what I do with people that I'm blood related to, just because I'm with these kids 5 days a week, you know. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of time that's lived with them. They're like my kids. They become like my kids, you know.
So would you say that because of your personal experience, people in general should be anti-family?
No, absolutely not. I wish I had
Or
family. I hate that my family is the way that it is. It disturbs me greatly because my mom is Italian, so I was raised with particular Italian families. You know, probably reaches back to Catholicism, maybe. I don't know exactly what it is. But, you know, Italian families and Mexican families, they're very bonded with each other. Family is everything in Latinate cultures. And so I was raised with that particular mentality. So it disturbs me greatly that my family is so dysfunctional the way it is. I hate it. I feel lonely, to be honest with you. And I hate that because the way that my family was, you know, that I have a certain kind of socialization, you know, that's like super independent. I wish that my son and I are pretty close. But I'm not as close with my son as I'd like it to be, you know, but I don't know how to fix it. You know, I don't know how to make
there too.
where we're more closer. It's just our family way, you know?
So that's what so that my whole reason for bringing up some of the points I've been bringing up is to give people like you perspective, because I feel the same way. And increasingly there is a much larger percentage of the population. Jason puts posts up all the time to remind people they're not alone, because you're also feeling a lot of the same things that other people are feeling. You're alone and you're lonely and depressed as a lot of other people are simultaneously with you. So like we're all together in this, being that, and to look at ourselves and I think it gives me a little peace of mind or solace to step back and be like, what is the reason everything I did? Sure, I can sit there and make a laundry list of my mistakes, right? But furthermore, the reasoning is I did not my daughter. I grew up with the thing. Remember the '90s, right? You had and today there's a lot of crazy different things going on because I have a younger child now. But back then, this was the thing. You had every other weekend. You had a lot of times there was like a court ordered day during the week. You get visitation, right? My daughter didn't grow up in my house that way. I saw her every other weekend. That is not the bond that creates this this voice in the back of your head that says, "Okay, my friends want me to go to St. Louis. Should I let my dad know?" You know, that voice never installed. And it wasn't her fault. It wasn't my fault necessarily. I guess it was my fault for, you know, not keeping it in my pants, you know. But that was a thing at the time where everything was all, oh, let's free this and that, let's be independent, and it was just a stupid thing that we were much less. What like I said earlier, we don't shun each other for doing those bad things anymore, and it's not because we think they're bad. It's because they're bad for us in the long run. Right. Having kids out of wedlock isn't because, oh, it's not a cool thing to do. It's because it's gonna fuck you in the long run, and trust me, I can tell you.
Hey, but you know the bad thing is, man, and I've been divorced. I'm gonna tell you, man, you fuck your kids up.
Yes.
Whether people want to admit it or not, when you fuck up in your marriage, you fuck your kids' lives up, and you might not see it right away, but as they get older and they start questioning things and things start to happen and transpire, I mean, you really fuck your kids up where they got to go talk to somebody about their problems and shit. I mean, I've been there, you know, so I think about that, like raising my kids and my family now, and I'm like, man, I've got to make sure that the bond is so solid that they will come to me no matter what. And that's kind of the stuff that I'm trying to instill in them, is that, you know, you come talk to dad, whatever you want to talk about, I'm open, I'm free, I'm here. And I just try to create that safe space, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a really open and honest relationship with my son. I was a single parent. I raised my son single-handed, and it was not easy. It's not easy raising a boy, you know, as a woman, because, you know, they reach a certain age, like when he hit probably around the age of 10, between the age of 10 and 12, he hit this stage where he was looking for a man to teach him how to be a man. And it wasn't that he was asking for that. He didn't have any cognizant whatever to ask for it, but that's what he was looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that. And so he gave me hell. He was pure hell to raise until he was probably about 17. I mean, we battled. I mean, we went mano a mano.
You think that's hard for women to admit these days?
What?
That they can't.
That a child needs her father.
I think that there's denial. I think there's denial on both parents' parts when they're not together and whatever. And a lot of it's caught up in a lot of emotional baggage that's left over from the broken relationship and egos and all of that kind of bullshit.
I think what he's referring to is the modern feminism, where it's the "I don't need a man" attitude, and the.
But where'd that come from, though? Was that propaganda put forth by, you know, like some kind of a deeper, like, you know, movement of people trying to mess us up, or was it all
trying to destroy the nuclear family?
That's kind of where I'm going with. I really think, was it Lyndon
I think
Johnson?
men just suck in general.
Who was it that I forget the president? I wonder, was it Lyndon Johnson? Fuck, I can't remember. When they first started going with mass like welfare to where you don't need the man anymore. We got you, girl. We got you. We got food stamps. We'll pay for your you know, childcare, all this stuff, and that pushes families away from each other all the time.
But if the government ever says we're doing it because we care, run.
You know what? I would disagree with you about that, but Ashley's been waiting patiently to try and say something. And
no, I haven't. I'm just listening.
I'm just shoving people in the bigger box every now and then, guys. Just in case anyone.
He just wants to show everybody how high we are.
Everybody like piles on and talks over her, so it's like, you know.
Yeah. Well, she's like Asia. If she starts to speak and then stops, I'll give her space. But I think they both know how to get in there. I think they just like to listen, and I appreciate you being in the box. We have more room, guys. If anyone else wants to come up, go ahead, Kim.
Here's what I have to say about your comment about the government, saying the government, whatever.
Uncle Daddy government.
Because I used to work for a U.S. senator, all right? And he was probably, and this was a long time ago, it's been more than 20, it's been since the mid-90s. It's not that they do care, okay? They do care. They care about this country.
Who's they?
The government. Now, I can't speak for the people up there right now because I think they're all a bunch of idiots, but a lot of them are a bunch of idiots. But here's what I think. They listen to a lot of people who are supposed experts and stuff that think they know things. And people that do research and do all of this stuff, and you know, and so they're informed by people. I think that they do things in a well-meaning manner. I think welfare was probably the worst thing ever. But look at where welfare came out of. Look at the stuff that had been going on in society just prior to them creating welfare. We had a huge portion of this country that was people of color who were discriminated against. And there was a lot of guilt and bad feelings and wanting to fix the lives of a lot of people that have been cast into poverty and just horrible circumstances in their lives because they were Black or because
come on now.
And I think people in government sincerely wanted to fix that. And it created
great.
In my opinion, it created a
It's
monster.
all women's fault, right? Everything is women's fault.
No.
Who said that?
Who said that?
An asshole in the comments.
Oh, who said that?
Well, everybody's entitled to their opinion.
No.
Whether it's right or wrong, who knows?
Yeah,
But, you know.
well, you know, it is what it is.
Well, there's a combination of three things: technology, meaning birth control, the the government taking care of the role of the father in a lot of ways, and then the
But look at
sort of
the
the
sexual
movement to be
revolution.
more free about
Look at
movement.
the 60s. Look at what was going on in the 60s.
That started it. That started the first
Yes.
wave feminism was good. We thought that was good, but then we come to find out today, and it sucks because a lot of it's not really being misogynistic to now realize that we may have fucked up when we decided to everyone rush to the office to be at work. You know, like
Well,
like
you know,
saying earlier, no one's like the whole being able to homeschool your kids. Well, that might be a thing still if we didn't push so hard for everybody to be like, you know, equality, equality, equality. The women should all wait, hold on. What's the percentage of women that own companies? We got to fix that. You can't force that. You have to let it. You have to maybe allow it. Yes, if there was any blockades behind women doing things, 100% get rid of them. But if you go to a country, go ahead, Bean.
When it comes to feminism, it's the same with any other movement where you give a little and they take a lot. It's that people don't know when you have it good enough, and it goes from equality to supremacy. Because now you want to be on top for once. They've been on top for so long. Now it's my turn. Like, and no matter what movement you go into where they force equality, that's what you get out of it.
Or any movement at all, any movement
goal.
It wants to feed itself. So every time there's like a charity or a I don't know, raising money to like build this park or whatever. Oh, well, what can we do with this committee now? You know, like they have to create something else. There's something else.
Release
something
the
else.
power?
Something else. And it's not about women here, guys. I'm with Bean here. Every movement we've ever had has had this happen where it's gotten so big and so bloated to where we've gotten past the point where it was why we had it. Like look at like children's child labor laws. You know, now we have the internet to where you can blast people like, look at this. I'm at a Nike shop in Morton. You know, there's these 9-year-olds making shoes. You know, we can. It's much easier to like put that stuff out there now. We don't need necessarily the some of those laws, but now there's like it goes to the point where we saw like remember where there was a lot of child actors like suing their parents and stuff, and these crazy cases and stuff. Like, man, it's like you get to the point where the kid can like sue your parent because they said the parent touched them, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's so sensitive now where the kid can like yell something in a store and be like, oh, look, my parent.
Well, the thing is that all of that comes from a place. And it's just like with women, you know, all of you guys, except for Val, are not old enough to probably have known how life was for women. But my mom's generation, my mom was born in the 30s. And, you know.
So was mine.
And when my parents divorced, when my mom and dad divorced, my mom wasn't on the house. She wasn't on the car. She wasn't on the utilities. She wasn't allowed to have a bank account. She wasn't allowed to have a credit card. And my dad, we were upper middle class, okay, income. And both of my parents came from very wealthy families. But when my mom and dad divorced, my mom didn't have her name on anything. And we nearly starved to death because it was a very contentious, bitter divorce. And my dad refused to pay child support. So we had this big, nice house in a very nice neighborhood. We had nice clothes. We didn't have a car and we didn't have any food to eat. And the only job, my mom had a PhD in psychology. This is back in 1974. My mom had a PhD in psychology, and the best job that she could get was as a waitress or a bartender. Or barmaid, sorry.
Yeah.
Barmaid.
But you started all that with
girls was the life of women. And now
old enough to know that.
And we have the Me Too movement because let me tell you, yes, things have improved for women now. Women have fought very hard to get to a place where a man can't just up and leave and say, I'm tired of this life that I have with this woman and these kids, and up and leave and go start another life with another woman and walk away and leave that wife and kid behind and not do shit. Okay.
But now we're at a point.
Movement. We still have the Me Too movement because women are still not seen as anything. You know, it hasn't changed enough where women are still not taken advantage of. Who is it that gets raped? You don't hear of men being raped in big numbers.
It happens, and that's what because
It
they get
does
laughed
happen
at.
in
They
big
get laughed
numbers.
at.
I agree with you. It does happen. And I'm not going to dispute
Sure.
that it doesn't happen. But by and large, most rapes are committed against women and children.
Not true. Most
crimes
rapes are committed against
women, children, and elders.
in the United States. Most rapes are committed against men because of the prison system.
Okay, well, take the prison system out of it because that's a totally different thing. That's
Don't insert the prison system into this backside of the conversation. All right.
That's an unnatural thing. Like you don't want to get booty butted.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like
You end up
prisons
in
are all
prison,
over the planet, so I mean, I guess but yeah, I understand what you're saying, but there are also very skewed numbers on that. We're getting a little away from the conversation, but at the same time, rape does account for a percent of abortions, and in other countries, maybe that might be frowned upon, and so some of the cultural pressures, one way or the other, might have to do with where you are in the world, but. In America, yes, we're making less kids. We're making less Americans every day, but our population is still increasing, of course.
Well, yeah, because you
guys know Elon Musk.
Here.
Yeah.
Some
and
people.
You know what? I'm not completely against immigration either. You know, like I don't like all of these droves of people that are coming here right now. Okay, it bothers me because it's like. You know, that's too many people coming in at one time. So I firmly believe that whatever's going on in the world that's causing these people to migrate here, that we need to have some kind of a policy to help these countries so that their people stay where they want, where they come from.
Now,
but with that being said, I think that I think it is healthy to have people immigrate in from other places because our gene pool, I mean, eventually will.
Well, okay,
yeah,
that's
it has
true.
to be done. It has to be done through a process, not just allowing mass migration.
Right.
So that makes sense to this topic because mass destabilization on this kind of a scale, people don't realize how easy it is to make population decrease. Not from like whatever crazy Bill Gates plans there are, like I have on the picture there with the suicide booth for 25 cents from Futurama. But like populations we've lost populations in the past, and some of that is from economic destabilization, harsh like winters or whatever it is. But to your point, Kim, this flood of and it's not just people from South America or whatever. It's from like 150 different countries. I think it is now. And from the northern border too. You guys I don't know if you realize that, but there's actually more people from China coming in from the northern border. Yep. But my point is that is going to destabilize our country, which will cause inevitable, difficulty enough that our population could massively. I'm not even going to go with violence, but there's all sorts of ways that it could decrease our population in a quick scale.
Well, yeah, I mean, for one, if you insert a bunch of people that are taking from the system and not giving back in, the economy collapses.
Well, I go back to what happened to Rome.
When in Rome?
Well, no, look what happened. Look at part of what caused Rome to fall. I mean, there are many variables that caused Rome to fall, but one of the things is that they were letting a lot of people, they were very tolerant. Rome was they were tolerant people.
Advanced, yes.
They gave the slaves too much freedom, right?
A lot of people were
like we are now
coming into Rome that were not friends to Rome, or they had such different ways than what the Romans could acculturate them to, that it just destabilized their government. It destabilized the Roman way of life and blah blah blah, and it caused Rome to fall apart eventually.
Good night, Charlene.
Contributed to the demise of the Roman Empire, and I see that. It's like we have a lot of these people that are coming in to the United States, like the Chinese, people from certain Asian countries. A lot of people coming in from South America do not come in from democracies.
Yeah. They bring their culture with them, and that sometimes is good.
Ways and stuff like
There's
that.
good parts of the culture and there's bad parts of the culture, and it's the bad parts that outweigh the good usually. Well, not usually. In a lot of cases, it's
Yeah.
it's a lot easier for the bad to shine through than the good.
Well, and it's not necessarily the bad. It's just like you come in, like let's say you come in from Iraq or Iran. I mean, do you come in from a system where you voted, where you had fair voting? Probably not. So you're unlikely that you're going to participate in government. And
I mean, you could even put it on a more local scale and say come from California to Florida. You know what I mean? It's even drastically different there.
Yeah. But you have people that are not, one of the things about a democracy is that we're supposed to participate, citizen participation. And you have a lot of people that aren't participating. You have a lot of people that are apathetic and they don't care, or they don't want to get involved because they don't know
I think it's natural, though. I think it's natural, guys.
We're
going through a cycle because we have gotten to the point. Well, I've quoted the poem a few times. What is it? Hard times make hard men. Hard
Easy
men
times
make
weak
easy
men.
times. Easy times make weak men. Weak men make hard times. It's a cycle we go through, and I think it might be it gets bigger and bigger until we might actually go through an event where we get busted. I've talked about this theory before, where I think we've gone through this cycle before, where we've been busted back down to almost nothing a few times, and we come back, like cockroaches.
I think we've already started the process. We've peaked out, I think.
Yeah, well, Elon Musk says, and that's a good segue, because Elon Musk, I just saw his interview. Some of you might not like Ben Shapiro, but him and Elon Musk had a little chat, and on Twitter there, and on X you might call it, and they were talking about how he says we need more people, not less. He's like, he wants to sort of colonize the whole solar system. He wants to have a whole viable city on Mars. That is like self-sustainable. He wants to start getting people there in 10 years and stuff. And he says we need more people. And I kind of agree, because if you were going to try to like cockroach our human race all over the planet, all over the solar system and beyond, like he wants to go to multi-systems, Bean.
But you asked me a question at the beginning when I came up. What is my view on all of this? And I think anytime we talk about depopulation, it is nothing but an anti-human sentiment, and it shouldn't be even entertained. To say that the world would be better with less of us is nothing but anti-human, and it's ridiculous. More brains is better. More humans are better. We could fit every human on this planet in the city of New York, and they would have I think it's 2.5 feet between each person.
Mm-hmm. Limit 6 foot though.
But that's when you look at it, like we take up barely any space on this earth, and yeah, we add to the carbon and whatnot, but there's still no true science to say exactly what percent of it, and it's based on
your volume went away there, Bean.
We are
Anyone else
going through another cycle, and humans might be speeding it up a little bit, but I don't think that to the extent that the extremists want to paint it out to be.
Yeah.
But
your volume is down.
Your audio is down. Let me try to edit it here. Oh yeah, let me raise it. It was kind of
I just got a call.
No. You're fine. It was way down to begin with. It was down like 40.
Got a call.
So
it always messes up the sound when an incoming call.
He had a call earlier though. It was earlier. I heard it. So you don't need to leave. I just cranked you to like 117. You sound loud now.
I can barely hear y'all.
Well then, touche. Get out of here.
I gotta get out of here anyways, guys. So great conversation tonight. I love y'all, and I will see everybody next time. So,
Jason, I thought of you with the cover. If you didn't see the cover, look at the cover photo. I thought of you.
Okay, I'll look at it.
With the hand hearts with the baby's feet.
Oh. All right. Love you guys. Have a great one, everybody.
Have a good night.
All right. I've been trying to work in the wheel as well to spin. Guys, I have like 20 people on the wheel. So if any of you are out there watching, if you want to share and like the video, preferably on Wayland Indoor Farmer. I don't like to be greedy, but listen, I made I spent a lot of time on that cool picture of it. that picture, man. Like I'm telling you, I'm getting really good. I'm getting spot on with these cool pictures. Although yesterday, I want to, man, I want to shout out to Soil Food because they came on as my guest yesterday. But I also felt really, really bad afterwards.
Why is that?
No one's gonna understand why yet. So, so I got their website wrong, and it was on the screen the whole time.
Oh no.
So like there's gonna be tons of people that will probably barely watch the conversation. You know, what do you get, 3-second views a lot of times? And so there's the website, and it's like, oh no. So I apologize to them, and I apologize again.
Interview them again.
So if you watch that video, the website, and we do talk about it at one point because they told me that URL wasn't taken or was taken, so they got Soil Foods with an S because they do plan to have multiple things anyway. So anyway, not to go off on a tangent, but man, I feel bad about that.
You are, Rob.
You can go edit and just do like at the very top update.
On like 8 platforms though. Like
why not? It's only 8 times.
You're right.
At least it's not 10.
Oh, you mean in the title? Yeah. I thought you meant like over the video somehow. I was like, I don't know.
Oh no.
Can I quick touch back on what I just said? Because somebody just said something about recycling.
That's it.
So this whole like the humans are creating the problem and all that stuff, that humans can fix the problem. So every solution that you look into to fix the problem, if you actually look into the process of how it goes down and the pollution it does to the air, you're about cutting even with recycling. With electric cars, you're doing more damage than if you just buy a used car. Like most of these solutions are actually either equaling out the damage or doing more damage. Like I mean,
we all get horses again.
with the infrastructure that we have and the amount of industry and all that stuff, there's nothing we can do on the individual level. I appreciate the effort of everybody. It's nice that you do the things that you do to keep the earth in order, but
some of it costs more too to recycle. Like it costs too much to recycle, they find out. Like, have you guys ever seen the myth of the used shipping containers that people will say, I'm gonna be eco-friendly and I'm gonna get all these used shipping containers and build a house out of them or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And I saw this like video about it where it's like, yep, they almost always end up having to purchase new ones because the used ones, like they've lost their integrity. And so as soon as you cut like a door into a shipping container, like those things are built in a very certain way to be all linked together and stuff. Like they're not like just a little box. It's like, so there's just funny things like that where you don't know. But to your point of being, they've actually, so carbon is not a problem. And for one thing, I believe, and I'm just going to say, as far as my opinion, we are in a carbon drought in our planet right now. Actually, we're kind of very low on carbon as far as our planet per parts per million goes. Because you go to look at any greenhouse, they're going to pump it up.
Carbon dioxide.
Well,
that's a different element than carbon. Yeah.
Well, carbon dioxide is the air form, but you can actually pull it out of the air, and you can actually turn it into graphene, and you can turn any form of carbon into graphene. And where they're doing this at the University of I can't remember the university name now. Rice University, I want to say. I have to look it up again, but they're able to take trash and hit it with like a whole bunch of megajoules of electricity or whatever and turn it into graphene. Oh no, are they turning into graphene, or there's another thing they're able to turn something into hydrogen, but then they get graphene out of it. There's some really cool stuff that's happening, but that's the problem though. It's like we might end up like competing for the rest of the planet for that. So we have to be careful no matter which way we go as humans. If we want to continue to prosper, like you said, Bean, where we are able to actually live where it's like efficient, not necessarily with 2 feet for each person, but like a little more efficiency where we're not so having so much problems. But if we can do that, we have to just continue like you know, having more kids with brilliant minds and like, you know, more future. I don't know.
Well, really touching back on a topic that somebody brought up earlier about the depends on where you're at in the world, depends on different factors and stuff.
True.
And maybe like in a long-term solution, probably not right now with the types of governments in charge. The new world, like a world government, is probably the answer in the long run. You know what I mean? Like to get everybody and pull the resources so that everybody at like so. Another thing, we're talking about a lot of rape in places like India and stuff like that, and one of the main reasons for that is because of the poverty and because of the filth. The women don't want to be touched, so like the men go long periods of time without and go good for the women for not wanting a fucking filthy dick in them. But it's because of the filth in the area and the poverty that causes certain things like that. So, I mean, I would imagine that we have enough resources in the world to sustain everybody for a long period of time. It's just that it's all for sale.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we squander it a lot of times because we turn it into things that maybe aren't so easy to turn into something else sometimes. But we've actually found, and what sucks is like we just can't get out of our own way because I love seeing these stories where they found another way to like reuse the spent plutonium that they've been storing from like nuclear. Like they found a new way to like, for instance, they can put barrels of that nuclear waste, encase it in concrete, and it would actually, and then you put it under a floor of like a building or a house, and it would keep that building warm.
You know, it would prevent inventions like that.
No, it's not. It's actually it wouldn't be harmful though, Val. They done what's that? Dean?
I was just gonna say, you know, what would prevent inventions like that from becoming reality?
People scared. People are, you know,
less people.
Yeah.
Like if that person didn't exist, where would that idea come from?
That's what I'm saying is we need more people with ideas. And you know, they say there's no new idea under the sun. I think the new ideas are like coming up with combinations or different ways to apply old ideas. Like it's a new idea if it's a different angle, right? Can't possibly be a good idea. Mike says, yeah, it didn't sound like it to me either, man. That's why I said it. That's why I brought that one up, because that one's a crazy one. But like we found ways to like reuse plastics, like to Kim's point, not every plastic can be reused, but they found a way to make roads out of plastics instead of our asphalt, and they last way longer and stuff. But we won't ever do that because they last too long. Say again.
Isn't the goal to get rid of plastic? Like you use less of it?
No, I mean not if we want to use it for a permanent structure, you know.
I mean, does that still eliminate the chemicals that are leaking into the air?
I don't know that answer, but that's a good answer. A good question, though.
Well, that was my point earlier, because a lot of these countries bury all that stuff, and it's like, what does it do to the soil?
Right.
Well, that's why we've gotten biology now that's able to eat plastic. It's because the Earth has had to.
But what's the consequences of that? I mean, that's all relatively newly studied stuff. We don't have any long-term effects on what's going to happen to those worms that are eating the plastic or whatever, you know. Or, I mean, what happens if that bacteria decides to jump out of eating plastic and start eating humans? Or, you know,
I smell a Marvel movie.
Because it goes back to that Newton's third law thing, whatever it is, where where you have one force, you have something on the other side that's equally, equal to and reactive, or whatever the hell it is.
Well, that's true, but I actually, I think that we have a deeper problem with. Besides that, like sort of that's sort of a back and forth of the pendulum. On top of that, now we have adult human males that have the same amount of testosterone as an 84-year-old man. So like a lot of things we've discussed is like more external things, but we haven't discussed how our boys are different now. We're like they're living at home till 30 now, you know, and it's like maybe not all of them, obviously. I'm painting a straw man here, but like there's that whole trope of like like what was it, the Will Ferrell movie where he goes to see They go to see
Do you
Will
think
Ferrell. The meatloaf, Mom. Yeah. Anyway,
do you
go
think that could be like a slight evolution to the circumstances they're living in now? Like kids are babied, their pads are put on everything. That boys aren't allowed to be rough and tumble with each other. Like you're like they're told that you're being a
mother.
bully, you're being too rough, you're being ADD. Sit still,
Yeah.
shut up, and play your video game. How do you develop a body that thrives on testosterone and one's like is
There's
strong?
sports and communication or
Yeah.
participation things that they can get into.
It's a lot
Well,
of
sure
things.
they can.
Several things. We eat a lot less meat. We eat a lot less
It always
of
comes down to the
the
diet
food.
too.
Well, yeah, and I knew that, and then in
Chemicals,
Smash,
man.
you'll probably be able to name a few of the veggies. There's a bunch of veggies that promote testosterone that we don't exactly eat as much either. You know, asparagus is one of them that I know. So I try to eat more asparagus these days. There are some other ones that promote testosterone, but we don't realize how much because we've also demonized testosterone, have we not, Val? What do you think about this? Have we not the whole toxic masculinity? It's not toxic to be masculine. It's toxic to be like a nasty person, which is usually the people who have less testosterone. They're the ones that are out there.
I don't know. All my spam emails are saying that men are not getting enough testosterone.
All right. Go ahead, Dean. I hear you.
Yeah.
So do we want to spin this wheel pretty soon, guys?
Getting enough something. I don't know.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like we don't
Not
want to
you.
demonize testosterone. Okay, yeah, but like I feel like we are kind of going the other direction. Countries like China, they are pushing their young men to be strong men, leaders, and be strong. The strong point of the household, and then also they're teaching strong family values, and we have to realize here that we can't always just do it all by ourselves. Like that's
Say
why
China's teaching this.
China is, yeah.
China will let no feminine attributes in their military.
Yeah. So
Yeah, they just go the factory work and slave away.
Even in the female.
I don't know what the women do. I don't know much more detail. I just know.
No,
Yeah, I don't say anything.
no,
about
that's not true. They have women in their military.
Right.
You
So
just
they
fall in
can have
line and you're a
feminine-
soldier. You are a soldier while you're in there, nothing else. Like,
So like Starship Troopers with like the unisex shower scene.
but I don't know if you were talking about, like, I saw a video about that where China is raising like soldiers. They won't allow this stuff, and while we're raising streamers and
Yeah,
feminizing our youth.
I've seen it a few different times actually in their app. Sorry, Smash. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I seen that too.
Yeah, and
Who was I talking? I was talking to somebody at work today, and they were. Who was it? So I'm a veteran, and one of the teachers I work with, he's an Army vet, and we were talking about. I don't know how we got onto it, but we were talking about his niece is in the Navy, and that
you
I don't
got
know
him.
if you guys know about Navy, but when you're on ship, like you have a tiny space for your personal stuff. Like you have a bed and you have a tiny space, and it's all very close proximity, right? And he was saying that his niece was lamenting to him about there's a drag queen on board with them that's a Navy person, Navy enlisted Navy person, right? And they're pissed, and his niece is pissed because he's a drag queen, he's given more space on that ship as a special privilege because he's a freaking drag queen.
Like all the time?
And,
Like, does he perform for them?
And just like lamenting because it's like
for his costumes.
But this goes back to what I was saying earlier. If the government ever says I'm doing it because I care, run the other way. They're doing it out of empathy. It's okay to have empathy when thinking of different ways to run things, but you also have it has to be 90% logic. You know what I mean? The empathy can play a role, but it can't be 90% empathy.
Well, it's just scary as hell because, and I don't get me wrong, I'm not against people that have those proclivities. Like I have gay friends. I don't have too many lesbian friends, but I have gay friends.
Lisa.
People are people, and I'm not going to discriminate against them because we all are who we are.
Oh, we're friends. Oh, I'm sorry.
But when I was in the military, and I got out in like 1991, 92, somewhere around in there.
That's when I was
And
born.
the mentality was, and I was a single parent. They were like, you better have your shit together because we didn't issue you a child. And now it's like they flip flopped where like everything's like really touchy feely, and that I don't know, like that kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Well, that was how the military was. Like, you go in there and you're a soldier, and it's not like you leave your shit at the door. You know what I mean? Like, you could be a drag queen all you want at home, but leave your fucking dresses at home.
Right. I agree, and I love drag queens.
But really, not to circle it back to the feminist thing, but that really is the cause of this. It's the fact that standards had to be changed, and then things started to alter, and it became a snowball effect. And like, not to hate on the feminist movement, I love you ladies, but like that really was the start of the change in the military, softening up and allowing way more.
I guess you're right, because I can't think of another thing, and I Val, I know you want so bad to disagree, but I believe it's kind of the only time they changed the metrics.
So the problem
I was on the same page with you there. I was thinking, I'm like, is there anything else? Is there something else you could attribute it to? Honestly, he's right, because when they had to change the amount of things that you had to do
standards, all that.
That's right, yeah. So
but the problem the problem with the feminist movement isn't just the women. Like, I mean, the women that are behind it play a role, but it's also weak. Like, it's also men that cower to they lead with empathy. You know what I mean? Like they
beta males.
Yeah, and it's because just like the right to vote.
Well,
do you think women?
Me, because if we ever get into a situation where it's like survival of the fittest, it's like your little touchy-feely is going to go right out the window. It's going to be
exactly
like you want to figure out how the fuck you're going to survive,
Well, but their actions right now,
right?
Sorry, Smash, I didn't hear you.
Never mind, you're good.
I was just going to say that their actions to being a beta male is actually in some ways a survival tactic.
Yeah.
Because right now, the top 1% of the 1% of men are the ones who get all the ladies, and a lot of the men at the bottom are they're doing things like being sympathizers. Oh, I'm an ally of the women's movement, and I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna protest at the women's march with the girls because I might get laid that night. That is actually a thing. There's men that go and they simp. They call them simp.
A thing.
Well, I don't know. Oh, come on now, like that. That's definitely much more this
Only
century.
You think we don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you didn't. I'm not saying that. They do sympathize. They do give sympathy. Sex, we'll say.
Joe just said that what's fair is fair. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. If they want to fight for their country, then let them fight. But I agree with that. But what's fair is fair. If you can't meet the PT requirements, you are not fit to fight.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Well,
yeah, but I actually disagree with that.
You have the mental toughness to be able to do that too. It's like it's not like you're walking into an office and you've got your weenus that you have to meet. And I take that from the episode of Friends. The
weenus.
Yes, the weenus. This is fucking fighting and defense, and it's war, and it's nasty, and it's not clean, and it's like you want people that are tough. You don't want a bunch of
that is not a sexist statement at all, and anybody that misconstrues it is just trying to start controversy because
I disagree.
No.
I'm not even playing devil's advocate. I disagree because we used to have, and I'm not to be gender role specific, but like women were all in World War I, World War II. They had a role. Mostly it was medical, right? But my point is not. But back to just men today. Disabled men should still be able to be in the military. Maybe mentally disabled like myself, maybe not the type of people that go in.
No.
Don't allow the PTSD guys in. I guess maybe I could get that. But the guys that maybe passes everything else, but he's missing, say a hand or something or an eye.
You're absolutely right. But when we discuss this, we're talking about soldiers. We're not talking about the specialists.
Yeah, I'm talking about people who could be in the military but at home, doing all the stuff that needs to be done to support.
Just like there's a big push right now that I've been seeing a lot of these videos where they're debating whether women should be on the beat on the police force if they can't meet the BT. Obviously, anybody that can meet the requirements, you're welcome. But if you can't meet the same standards that they put out there for men, they shouldn't be on the force. But that doesn't mean you don't get to be a cop, because women make great interrogation. Like, they're great at interrogations, they're great detectives, but like you shouldn't be a 110-pound girl chasing down a 250-pound meth addict. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not. And this goes the same for men. This is if you can't meet the PT requirements, you shouldn't be in there protecting your partner. You know what I mean? Like, that guy depends on you. Girl, guy depends on you. And you're statistically, this is going to sound sexist, but this is just numbers. Statistically, when a woman is on the police force, that department is good. It goes up 75% so that they're more likely to be attacked, or one of their officers are more likely to have their life in danger.
Where do you get that from?
75%. It's the FBI statistics.
Well, yeah, because people that, your sociopaths and your psychopaths and your criminals, which is oftentimes sociopaths and psychopaths, automatically look for the weakest link.
They do exist. Unfortunately, they do exist.
Yeah, well, they do. I mean, I have a kid on my caseload. I carry a caseload as a special ed teacher. So I have these kids for 4 years, and I have a little sociopathic psychopath on my caseload right now. And that's what he does, is when he you can see him like building. You can feel that tension in him, and it reaches this pinnacle, and he's got to release it. And he doesn't go after the 6'2" big old bulky guy that's walking front. He takes the next guy that's the little weak dude and clobbers him.
Yeah,
out of him. And criminals do that. They do that. Mm-hmm. It's just like inherent in them.
Yeah. If you got a 200-pound dude arresting you, and like you got 10 warrants out for your arrest, you're going to go to jail for the rest of your life, you're less likely to fight him than the chick that's like you're towering over her, and like you might take your chances there, reach for a gun. Like,
well, I can tell you, as a 5'4" female, I've had so many men like stand over me and like try to intimidate me, and it's like, you better watch it there, buddy. You don't know what the hell whoop you're gonna do.
Yeah, that's what I agree. There's a lot of women out there that can handle their own.
On the floor, and I will choke you out. Like, I'll grab you and crush it.
Yeah, I definitely don't believe that women shouldn't be out there fighting, because there's this officer. When I was growing up, I was a bad kid, but we called this lady Robo Bitch. And dude, one day I was running and she was chasing me. I look back, she's like a block behind me. I get to the next block, I look back again, she's gone. And I turn around and she tackles me, comes around the corner and tackles my ass. This bitch was no joke. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of them out there that can do it, but
well, but women we're targeted, and that was my point earlier about the whole movement. Like, it's still, because we are weaker. We don't have as heavy of bones. We don't have as much muscle, whatever. I mean, not even statistically, but genetically, but what, I don't know, biologically, we're different. We're not as strong as what men are.
I would say there is an overlap, and that's what a lot of people will argue with, the fact that there are feminine men and there are masculine women. But that's a pretty small.
Yeah, it's not the general consensus.
Grassroots, how you doing, man? Doing all right? I know you're just chilling, but I'm gonna make sure we get you. I know you have. You can get in there.
Yeah, welcome into the last episode of People in the Boxes. After all that,
good. Good comment, good conversation.
we've gone to worse places. Really, we've gone, or not worse, but like we've gone to harder places. We've had more difficult guests on, haven't we, Val? We've had a few times where there's been some difficult, you know, a couple, we'll say people that don't talk to me anymore now after people in the boxes. But listen, that's also that it kind of exposes something in you to find out that you're, and I hate to use this term, intolerant of being able to talk to each other of like hard issues and being able to like hear other people's crazy opinions. Like Bean thinks the earth is spaghetti shaped, and I don't know how the fuck. Well, what the hell?
Yeah, listen, I'm borderline flat earth.
Borderline.
Meatballs.
Borderline. They only have 2 questions that they can't answer. If they answer the 2 questions, I'm all in.
Can I know the questions?
What's up and what's down?
Yes.
That's it. Answer those 2. I'm all in.
Yes.
Like, what do you mean? What's up?
They say water is up. That's a dumb answer. We're past the water.
Who says water is up?
More water?
That's what flat earthers say. On the outside of the firmament, there's water. If you go down far enough and you break through land, there's water. What's on the other side of the water? How far does the water go?
There's no end, I guess.
Interesting.
But if you talk to them enough and you don't know your shit, they sound smart.
Maybe the space is really underwater since nobody's really discovered all of the ocean. Maybe you just keep going down, and that's where all the planets are.
Yeah, there's another layer. Like the reason we can't get up there is because like we're like fish, and like that's the top of our ocean. And like there's another set of like humans up there walking around on the.
It's a different thing up there. Thing.
I don't
just
even
have a
give these
question.
people the time of day. It's like,
Why
that's-
did they spend so much money on telescopes? Why? If
Um,
y'all think
So have
the
you ever
water
seen a
there-
star
To create an
zoom in
illusion.
max? The like most you
That's
could
it?
ever zoom in a star.
The
You're
max.
so crazy.
What's that?
There's what?
Have you ever seen a picture of a star zoomed as much as you can zoom it in? Like
Yeah.
the best camera out in the world.
What's
It
that?
looks
You
like
guys
it's
get a chance
underwater.
to go look at the James Webb Telescope. They got documentaries about it. That's the one that's consistently going out and taking pictures of all these beautiful
Yeah.
places. It's
It
amazing,
look-
man.
But
Does it, have you seen it, Grassroots?
Yeah.
She says it looks like it's the stars are underwater. Would you agree with that?
So
or?
I'm not talking about the same thing he's talking about though.
no,
I know, but I want. But those are 2 different sources. I'm wondering if that matches up. Go ahead.
We should check
I mean,
it out.
They took so many different pictures, man. So I mean, you could
Yeah,
make
there's a
anything out of it.
million.
It's beautiful though.
do any of y'all have an iPhone?
No.
I do. I've also played Minecraft. I feel like that's the theory. At the bottom is this bedrock that you just can't go any further. You're stopped there.
So has anyone seen the video of that one dude? I can't remember his name, but he actually says that he found the end of the Earth.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't watch those kind of
Uh,
videos.
I go
Waylon,
into some crazy rabbit holes.
Waylon, do you have one of them push lights or Val? Like when you know them like old push lights that they glow dim? No, it needs to be white. I saw a video that it said like you know how people brag about how good the camera is on the iPhone because when you zoom in on the moon you can see, like literally see it. Like you see the structure of the moon and everything. They say that that's actually a feature in the iPhone that if you if you take one of them dome lights, it's got the right light that you could, if you zoom in on it, it'll look like the moon. Because they're faking you out and making you think you're actually taking a picture of the moon.
Interesting.
I would kind of guess that maybe it would
Are
be
they?
AI.
Who are
Yeah,
they?
but that could be just them making you think that their phone is good. That could be a marketing ploy.
Hold it still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're like, look how good the camera is.
Yeah. Okay.
You would have to do it with your back camera and zoom in all the way. So put it across the room. You put it across the room and turn
It has the crappiest fucking camera there is.
No, I think it's just the new ones. Yeah, you'd have to turn the lights out, put that light across the room, and zoom all the way in on it.
Why would I want to do that though, Beanie?
You gotta help us out, Val. We need
Yeah,
to
to
know.
tell me if it works. I just saw this video,
I have seen the moon.
and I believe it 100% because it was on TikTok.
I've been there.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
TikTok dictionary, man.
Oh my god. Where's my laugh track when I
You
do
know,
it?
my favorite pictures of telescope pictures of outer space are. And I think it was the Hubble that took these, where the pictures where it's looking out into space and you can see all these hundreds of different galaxies out there. That was mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
You know,
Cody.
like the ones of the exploding stars or whatever it is, of all the gas, and they're beautiful and everything. And don't get me wrong, I like that, but it blew my mind to see those pictures of all of those different galaxies out there, you know, and it just, you know, and we exist in a galaxy. So it's like we're one of God only knows how many galaxies are out there, you know?
Yeah.
That we can't get to because we don't have the technology to get there. But
I think there's a very good possibility that we are just the first, and we are gonna like populate the whole, you know, galaxy.
There's too much evidence that there was civilization on Mars.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know about that. I don't know that I agree with that, but I do believe, like my students, like we have these really cool conversations, you know, because I work with high school kids. And one day, one of them, you know, we talk about aliens sometimes, and they're like, "Miss, do you think there's aliens?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I said, "I don't not believe that there's not aliens." I said, "Do they visit the Earth?" I said, "I don't know that I believe that." And it's the same way with ghosts. I believe that they probably exist, but I've never seen one, and I'm a fact-based person, so I'll believe it when I see it.
What about dimensions? Do you think there are other dimensions?
I don't know. That part I don't know about. I know that they're messing with it, trying to prove it, you know, with quantum physics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible. I don't know because I'm not a science person, but I do believe that there is probably, being that there are other galaxies out there, that there's probably life just like ours out there somewhere in one of those galaxies. You know, it makes sense. It would be.
We're way too naive to think we're the only ones.
I mean, we don't think we are. We have scientists, yeah. If you believe in outer space, we have scientists that are constantly trying to prove that there has to be life somewhere else. And they originally thought I think there were like 10 things, or first it was like air, oxygen, and carbon dioxide. But then they got to 10, and now it's like it's in the hundreds of specific things that have to occur for life to. Now, I'm not saying they're right, but that's just so they were trying to prove there was no God, and then they ended up by using science proving that there must be a designer and must be a greater creator of some way.
Yeah, too precise.
Yeah, it was too, like, everything had and that's why the way that Mother Nature is on the planet is like, yeah, it'll get rid of something that's like causing it. It's got to. But here, let me give you guys an idea, and I want to hear what Alan thinks about this one. So I heard this earlier tonight on Timcast IRL. Shouts out to Timcast. They get a panel together similarly like us, but they go over some of the current news of the day, and he started talking about this right on air, came up with this, so that's why I'm gonna give him credit. But he said, you live your whole life, you struggle, you have to go through hardships all the time. Life, it seems like these hardships keep coming at us no matter what we do, right? And then you die, and then you wake up suddenly, and then there's this like arbiter there to like judge you and everything. And what happens is, what he said is, what if it's like we're actually on this like giant Earth ship, we're heading to like Alpha Centauri, and we're growing babies in like stasis or whatever on the ship, and we're in a simulation. A lot of people talk about simulation theories now, right? But what if we're in a simulation that is designed to make us more tough or more life adapted
in your favor.
once we get to the other end, you're like a 7-year-old baby. You wake up and you've already got a full life's experience in your head. And he's like the whole idea of like good and evil is, I mean, you can still believe in God above that, of course, but my point is, like, we are taught this whole good and evil, and throughout the life that you spend digitally, the computer or whatever, they figure out they weed out the bad ones, the people who end up being evil in life, doing evil things. They're able to just eject those ones out the out into space or whatever. And like, oh, bad egg. That was his thought. It was like that's pretty wicked though. Like you're able to wake up like a 3 or 4 year old baby and you've already lived an entire life. That would be weird though. That'd be really weird. Put your mind back into a tiny baby. I used to think it would be cool to go back to when I was like 10, or 15 maybe with all my memories now. But man, that would actually be that might suck actually. Make a whole new list of mistakes. Might go hold down a whole nother road, butterfly effect and that shit. So anyway.
Well, you'd be like the whole. Did you ever watch Back to the Future?
Marty.
No, the part
gotta
where
go back.
like you couldn't like interfere because it would change everything and you'd have a
Yeah.
problem. That's what it would be like.
That's why I don't see time travel as a plausible existence ever. When I don't entertain that thought when people start talking about it.
You
I
just
don't
need
think it's
you just need the Hulk and what did that guy from Ant-Man, you're good to go. You just got to shrink down quantum entanglement or whatever.
that's why I can't even get my head around other universes. Like that's so wild to me. Like
I would not want to do time travel. That doesn't interest me at all. I wouldn't want to go back in time because people are like, oh, I'd like to go back when dinosaurs. Well, shit, those dinosaurs would eat you. You'd be like
no,
right.
no, you would die. You would die before that.
Oh,
like the local, like a bug. You'd be dead from the first fucking bug. You'd be done.
It's like why would I want to go back
the size of your head?
time?
Yeah.
It would
I could believe teleportation a lot sooner than I could believe time travel. Like at least there you're staying within this realm of existence, not
They've theorized
into another
teleportation.
dimension.
They've theorized it just takes a lot of power, like more power than what we can produce right now or something. That's what I've heard anyway. Val?
Yeah. I said or multi-dimensional. I could understand
The-
going back in dimensions.
DMT and psychedelics, man. There's a
time
lot of
travel.
like if you listen to Joe Rogan at all, you're going to hear a little bit about being able to like travel into other dimensions using psychedelics. He talks about it often enough with like some legit guests on, like some doctors and some pretty legit people, right? But they think that there's a strong possibility that that's where the quote alien visits come from, is actually from the extra, like the other planes of existence rather than other planets.
Aliens. Right.
Now, to Bean's
So
point
here's
about
another
flat Earth,
thing.
I like the hollow Earth. Go ahead,
I
Smash.
think we have our
Well,
idea
this
of what
kind of just goes
time
along
travel
with the
is
flat
and kind
Earth
of
theory.
what that all looks like logistically. But if you think about the universe and how big it is, I mean, time travel to and I'm a Christ follower. I'm a pastor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I believe there's aliens out there. I believe there are other worlds out there. I believe God's got a whole nother book and he's doing something different. That's just how he operates. But
different simulation.
I think our perception of time travel, like what Dean is saying, is our perception. But when you get out to where the black holes are and things are moving at such a rapid pace, what does time out there look like? Is it our focus? Is it our idea of time, or is it completely different? So I don't know. It's just wild out there.
Well, that's the whole time is just a construct thing.
It is a man-made construct.
But it's in the same way that an inch is a man-made construct. It's a form of measurement. Does the form of measurement change when you leave Earth? That would be I think the question there.
Right.
Well,
But obviously it does, because that's how they figured out that gravity is not the same in space. And also E equals MC squared doesn't actually work in the vacuum of space. Like so yeah, I guess the measurement of time
Gravity
probably
is
would
different.
fall into that same equation, that under different circumstances it would act different. But
that's the whole point of his thought, is like you wouldn't want, like all people always think like if we were to do that we would freeze people, like cryogenics, and then you would get out to some further away planet or whatever. But no, like you would want to you would want to raise people on the ship on the way there, but then you wouldn't want a bunch of these kids, like these people that are on this, like that's all they know is on the ship. So he's like, they would just be these weird, like they wouldn't have the same sort of, they wouldn't have the skills to be able to live on a planet. And so that was his whole thought. I was like, well, what if you're being put through a simulation and while you're being grown the whole time on the way there? It's an intense thought, because then the whole idea of like you being judged when you die, you being judged when you die. It's like, well, that could be the system figuring out whether you're a good egg or a bad egg. Anyway, Michelle says, Waylon, do you have to be here for the spin? No, ma'am. Of course. Well, and you wouldn't anyway, even if you're not and you're the first person I saw ask that. Thanks for asking that. I know a lot of people probably, well, I can't imagine that many people have just been waiting for this the whole time, but could be. Never had real DMT. It was real. I did have some DMT once, Craig. I'll admit, at least that's what was said. I can't tell you. I mean, I didn't make the shit, so I don't know for sure. But supposedly it was DMT. It was from a friend. A friend brought a friend over. I was in my early 20s, and I definitely felt like I was dying. I didn't feel like I saw like elves from another dimension. I felt like I was in a black pit, that I was falling, that there was no end in sight. But it was for like 5 minutes. So it didn't last that long. But it was like there was no fun thing. It was just like, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I did enough DMT one night to take a large elephant to the fucking moon, and I didn't see no little creatures. I didn't talk to nobody. I didn't go to no another dimension. I mean, I blacked out for a good hour and lived my life as a video game, which is a whole nother story. But I didn't go into no dimension or talk to nobody. And I've done it plenty of times since then, where you just see like the shapes and whatever in everything, but I've never crossed over like they talk about. I think a lot of that is people wanting to be in the club, in the in club. So they tell you the same story that everybody else told you. So now they're in the in club.
Yeah. The same thing with mushrooms and acid, like any sort of a psychedelic effect. Most of the time you see enhanced colors.
That damn
you see, but I tell you what, if you take an excess of those things, I mean, they all have sort of medicinal use and properties, and they have more mature ways to go about them. But some people that go overboard, I'll tell you, I was at a music festival. We call it Ellendorf. It's fucking Ellendorf, man. It's in Illinois here, and they don't have it anymore. It was at a private family farm, and they turned from a family get together into a, like, everyone was coming. There was cops involved. Anyway, I get there like late at night with a friend. He was so worried to find something that I did not even care about. I didn't take this. He ended up finding some liquid LSD, and took way too much. He was in catch-up mode. You guys know the mode, right?
Yeah, kind of like FOMO.
Yeah. It was last night, I got hurt. 7:30 the next morning. He was waking everyone in the camp up, screaming at the top of his lungs, naked as a jaybird. And he was,
there you go, Val.
He was like, and he ended up getting on top of a car, and he was just like, I forget what he was even screaming, but these guys came over because he was disturbing everyone, and instead of being nice about it, because they clearly knew that he was off of his rocker, right? And our camp, before we could really get to knowing what was going on, these guys had pulled him down off the truck, and he hit his head and everything, and stuff, and then they ended up taking him out of there in an ambulance. But not because of physical. I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know how hard he hit his head, but because he was clearly, needed a detox. But it's stuff like that where he probably did see some things that weren't there. Definitely past the point of being good for you. And they've governments tested on this. They got guys in rooms on IV drips of DMT and they're doing this stuff in closed doors. Go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, but the problem with that I see at DMT is everybody's telling the same story. You know, and they're all talking about seeing the same little goblins or whatever they call them. It's a group of creatures that talk to them. You know what I mean?
Tell
Like,
the story that everybody else told them.
It's
yeah,
fun to say that. Yeah.
well, I mean, the only explanation for that would be that you are crossing over into another dimension. But I don't know. Because once everybody starts seeing the same thing, it's no longer a trip. You know what I mean? A trip is an individual thing that happens to you. If you're all doing the same thing, you're going somewhere. You know what I mean? You're going to a place that.
Right. That makes sense.
Well, we've gone through a lot of topics, but most everything does connect to, you know,
I do
us
too, Joe.
people, our population, right?
I don't want to see them
I
though.
like zombies, he says, Joe. Well, we got that zombie mushroom, the zombie. There's like, yeah, there's something out there. We're creating.
There you go. Less babies, more zombies.
More zombies, or zombie babies. Or how about zombie babies? No, like
No.
but real though, transhumanism is a thing, and it's like we're going to breed ourselves out of being able to make more. And you guys, I know you all said it wasn't like our purpose to have kids, but it's like that's to procreate is our way of immortality.
That's one thing that's one thing y'all were talking about before I came up is that people had a lot of babies mainly because a lot of them died. I think the main spike in like the reason that people have big families is because you can't conquer an empire without a population. It was to grow population and build strength.
Right.
In numbers.
Okay, we'll take it before empires. Like we're talking, you know, well, I mean, I guess it's hard to do that, but cradle of civilization. You're telling me that there was a reason to have big families then, other than just to spread and
yeah, to protect your family against the neighbor's family.
Right.
Yeah.
So they don't come pillage your shit.
Well, and that's true. That's actually a lot of my point is that our family, our nuclear family, is much more important. And you can still there's room for a village. There's room for your nuclear family being tight with your neighbors, tight with your community. You know, people that help volunteer in the community, people that are part of the local this club and that. You know, that's fine, and I think that's great. I feel like that's what we've lost how people don't go to church anymore because church used to fill that role.
Yeah, you need the community, but you don't want to go full Amish with it. Like,
well, maybe not. I mean, there's people, there are enclaves. There are some successful situations, maybe without Kool-Aid or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Well, you were talking earlier about people like having a bunch of kids and even selling their kids and stuff. Like, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that talk in like the Amish community and stuff like that, where they'll have like 7 kids and sell them for different things to.
Yeah, and that's not even just
sex traffickers for the most part.
Medieval times, like definitely more European nations definitely are known for that. Like that's a trope of like classic, you know, stories of like the young boy that's sold to be like a what do you call it of a knight, like the kid who has to like grab his stuff and like shine his shit aside, not a squire. Night squire, like he had to go and like it's like you sold him off because like he had to make you pay a debt or whatever, and it's like,
well, there was this family in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's like 20 minutes from where I grew up. That the family was an Amish family. They were about to lose their house, so this regular non-Amish dude stepped in and gave them the money to save their property plus some, and in exchange they gave him their 3 youngest daughters.
Wow.
Like, as babies. He ended up having kids with all 3 of them, ended up having kids with one of the grandkids, and like people didn't catch on for like 20 years until like the neighbors saw these girls out in the yard and they always looked sad and stuff, and they never talked to the community, and eventually they went and said something to the police and found out that this guy was like, he had like generations of his own kids. Like,
yeah,
that's kind of like the people in like Utah that have like multiple wives with their 13-year-old daughters.
Sister wives.
Well,
I don't
that
mean to
was
pinpoint,
No,
but
like no, I mean
that was
there's
an
more than
offshoot
just that
of
though. Like more in depth,
Latter-day
there's more
Saints.
even worse than that.
yeah,
Polygamy.
Right.
Yeah, but he's not. That guy wasn't polygamy. He was
no.
incest. That was
It's
incest.
more.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, that's an offset of those people that seclude themselves from the rest of the world and don't allow community in and stuff like that. Then you rely on your circle to help and by any means
That's
necessary.
what I was thinking of.
Have you guys heard of a march of death?
Which
Not
one?
I don't mean yes.
Yeah.
There's another term for it. But have you ever heard
Circle
of
of death? I thought I heard it.
Well, the March of Death and Circle of Death, yeah, because ants march, right? But they're called a couple things. I've heard it both ways, I guess. But I couldn't think of the other one, Circle of Death, too. And so what happens is ants walk by smelling like they leave this scent along the ground as they walk, and so they know how to get back. And so they leave this scent, and then if they get in if somebody gets into a circle and somehow they like all the ants coming behind them all start traveling in that circle, and they just keep going in a circle until they dehydrate and die.
Yeah, they cannot get out of the circle.
Yeah, they can't leave.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane? And Canna Grammy, what's up?
Have you guys heard of Warren Jeffs?
Warren Jeffs or War in
Yeah.
Jeffs.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, he was one of those.
Warren what?
A Mormon. He
He's
was
I'll be right back.
Church of the Latter-day Saints. He
Yeah.
was an offshoot of the church. He was kicked out.
Yeah, he's
I
in
think.
prison now.
To me, that's so weird.
No, but he still rules, or he still like has messages from God, and these people come to prison and get these messages,
Yeah.
and then go live it out. Like talk
Still
about
going on.
brainwashed.
It's weird how natural religion is. Now, I think it might be in maybe Alan, you might agree or disagree with
No.
this, but Christianity has been pretty unique in that how long it's lasted. But at the other side of things, there's so many different like little like specific sects and different divisions and different I don't know what else you call it. What's the other word? There's a word. But you have different types of Christianity. There's a word for it though.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
what?
Like denominations.
Denominations. Thank you. Ding, ding, ding. She got it.
Woo.
Hey,
Here, I'll give-
Canagrammy. It's
I'll give
about.
you that. Yes. And
And
so
that's
so many denominations, and
grassroots
some
of it.
denominations are like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to break off and become my own denomination that allows multiple wives and like incest,
Right.
and then boom. And then it's like, or like the Church of the Creator, which is this guy named Matt Hale, who I lived near, and he was in the newspaper and on the news because he had a white supremacist church that he was like the head of. It's called the Church of the Creator, and he was on the news, and they sent out a black woman to interview him at his home. I was walking by or riding my bike, I can't remember what, but I went by his house while he was being interviewed on his porch by the news.
Wow.
And yeah, it was crazy. But I used to deliver the paper of his dad's newspaper as a boy, and it's just like to see these like, oh, well, I can make a church of whatever I want. There's a church of cannabis now, and I mean, I know there's maybe multiple, who knows. But what do you make of that, Grassroots? Like you have to decide your denomination now. Like there's just hundreds. Is it like genders now? What's going on?
It's not about religion. It's not about.
I can't hear you that well, brother. You're kind of like you sound
Yeah,
like
it keeps
you're.
going down.
Is that better now?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not about religion. I think it's about relationship, and you can look at any religion out there in the world, and it's all about establishing a relationship with your creator, and then that relationship trickling down to those that are around you. So to me, religion is just a set of rules. I think people, this is just my opinion, I think people use God's grace a little too much meaning kind of like you said, I'm going to break off and go do a church, and I want this church to be Satan driven. I want this to be about the devil. And people will do that, and people will follow, and people will go and be a part of that group. But I don't think that that's right. I think that because you have a certain belief that you get to go and start your own thing, but that's just how the world is right now. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. Everybody's going to try to fit in.
That's what America was, though.
So you'd probably say that, like, when most people say that religion is evil, it's destructive, it causes so many issues. Like, you would probably say it's not exactly religion causing the issues. It's when negative people make it to power within the religion, just like with people with bad intentions force their way through the ranks, end up in power, and then they use the influence of the religion to guide people astray.
Yeah,
I agree with that. But just like you were saying before, with any organization that gets too big or whatever, religious movie.
Religious.
Well, the Bible does.
Hey, Country Boy Weeds has a great point.
I'm laughing at
Bring that up.
At Wesley.
So I was going to actually say this a little while ago. When we talk about sex and men and women and believing in God and not believing in God, how often have you, maybe women and men, have said in the heat of passion, "Oh God"? Sex was designed by God to be amazing. God wants you to have sex. That's why He created you as part of procreation. What we're talking about. But when you say, "Oh God," you're calling out, "Oh God," like, thank you God for this because you're giving me some good ass booty right now. I mean, that's what that is.
Or even in the same sense, and how many atheists probably in a time of life and death said, "Please God, please help me." Like, I swear I'll change my ways.
Yeah, I agree. He's still dinging over
there. That time was actually an accident. I was typing on the wrong keyboard. I know that I saw Twisted Cannabis popped in over on the Instagram. I don't know if you're still there. I see two people that popped through. Instagram's weird, man. It doesn't give me any like real like metrics. It's just like there. It's weird.
I thought you were just dinging for good points.
Awesome. Joe.
Yeah, so I'll also say one more thing.
Craig, I got you.
Alicia, is kind of talking about a corruption in the church and things like that. I don't believe the church, if you go look at the Bible, the church isn't supposed to be a building of walls. The church is us. We're the people that carry the message. We're the church, right? So when you start to put the church behind four walls, you're in a sense making a business, which church is a business. Whether you think about that or not, but the church is really an operating business. There's money coming in, it has money going out, it pays its staff, et cetera, et cetera. But until we understand that we are the church, and you don't got to go to church, you don't got to go to a building to find God, man, the weight is lifted off of your shoulders, right? Because people think that in order to have an encounter with God, you got to be in a building. You don't, man, at all.
Yeah.
I thought it was everywhere.
Corruption's going to happen whenever you got a bunch of vulnerable people, which is what a church is, a bunch of vulnerable people that are handing their lives over to God, and then you use that against them. You're going to get corrupt people in any industry or any group. It's just that when it comes to religion, those people are extra vulnerable in that situation, and they're more willing to follow somebody that looks graceful or like.
Yeah, but that's the problem with the church. They're following the guy or the girl behind the podium. They're not following the guy that's giving them the message. And when you start looking at a man or a woman and getting your direction in life from that person.
And that's when you get these evangelist churches where the pastors have 10 mansions and like.
Yeah. Well, the Bible does talk about false gods and false prophets. So, and that's exactly what this is false gods,
Well, and
it doesn't necessarily have to be an idol like a golden cow or whatever, but
at the same time, that's because the government decided that they were going to play the role of the church and turn us all against the church. And starting with the media did it. Also, the separation of church and state, which was completely misinterpreted. Like this was supposed to be like freedom of religion here, and then it became like anti-religion, and that's the cool thing to be. And I mean, I understand why a lot of people turned away from religion, but I definitely understand the importance of it within a community and a society. Like, and to shun it and say it's bad, and like to turn it, the youth, like it's crazy that
Hey, Wes.
what is it, 2 generations ago the family went to church. You know what I mean? Like that's not even talked about. Like
I did as a kid. We tried that for a while, but it wasn't for my family. Like we found a church that was less, I don't know if strict is the right word, less stiff, I guess, you know, where you could wear jeans and a t-shirt. We were there. It was a theater, like a play theater that was not used on the weekend. So they were able to use it as, yeah. And so you're sitting in this dark theater with cushioned seats, you know, because that's one thing too. A lot of people that are all beat up these days that we just can't sit in like a wooden pew for all that long without being in pain. And so that hit a lot of good marks for going to that one. Pastor Ken, I believe his name was, and he used to have a TV show on local television where he used puppets and stuff on Sundays. But we would, as the kids would go to like a different area we would do Sunday school and stuff. And I actually experienced that in a Baptist church, in a Protestant church, and in a Catholic church. And, you know, just because it just happened, you know, for different reasons. Like my cousins, like an ex-girlfriend was Catholic. I went to Catholic church on Easter Sunday. So it was just like, stand up, sit down, stand up.
That's every service, honey. They do that.
I bet you it's
but it was a lot of people there. There's a lot more people there on Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
I call it CEOs, Christmas and Easter only.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, and like I'll just say it's not for everybody. Some of them are very they're not so like, okay, I don't know how to put it, because there are some that have been tried to become more hip, as it were. Like there's a lot of more Christian rock, sort of a rock church, like a rock church. There's a couple of those now. There's some that do live streams that are churches, and they're like, you know, they're rocking out
around forever.
Well, I mean, not live streams. I mean, I'm not talking about like the big evangelist ones that do the TV shows. I'm talking about on Facebook. I see some now where they're like on jeans and then like, and they're trying to be like, you know,
but I think it doesn't matter what your religion is. If you're a Christian, go back to church. If you're Jewish, go back to church. Like it's a sense of community that we don't have anymore. And it used to be, like you talked about the welfare state and all that stuff. It used to be when you needed help in your community or in your house, you first went to your local community, you went to your church. Like, you know what I mean? The church was a big part of the community, helping people out, keeping people together, because you knew people, you knew where your money was going to when you gave your tithes to the church and stuff. Like you knew the community and stuff. And now it's not like that anymore. I mean, there's a small percentage of people that are still like active in the church and stuff like that. Like, I mean, I'm not a religious person, but I do believe that if you are a religious person, you should practice, and it's good for you.
I quit going to church because we just had a bad falling out, and me and my wife had been in ministry for 12 years, and I was just over the politics and all the craziness that was going on. So I left, and I haven't gone back to church yet. But what I will say is that when I first got saved, when I first found my faith, when like I felt God kind of pull me out of the pit of hell, I needed church for that first year or two of my faith walk, because there were people in that church that helped build me and edify me when it came to me wanting to slip back to going to do bad drugs and shit like that. So I think church has a place for people, especially if you're new in your faith and you're trying to figure it out. Surrounding yourself with those type of people will help accelerate you. But when you go to church and you walk away and you don't surround yourself with that, what's the flavor going to be? It's not going to be there. You know?
And there's also a lot of external factors that go into this too. The fact that there's just T and A, and if you're not sure out there, tits and ass everywhere these days.
Yeah.
It's increasingly more. I found a new term not too long ago: soaking. Have you heard of soaking?
That's what, back to the Mormons. That's what the Mormons do.
Man, like they do anything to get around the rules, right? I think it's
Yeah.
and I think it's
It's
like the
'cause-
path of least resistance. Really, is like people are ingenuity. People are full of ingenuity. We always find like some kind of loophole, right? What?
Yeah,
No,
it's-
no offense. No
well, the
pun intended on
definition
that one.
the
Go ahead.
definition of sex includes the in and out motion. So their loophole is if they just put it in and leave it there,
And
they're not sinning.
just hang out. Just hang out.
Is that what soaking is?
That's what soaking is. Yeah, that's what these.
Yeah.
So kind
some
of
of the-
like, what do you call those soaker hoses? You're a soaker hose, just lay there passively and let your stuff come out.
I don't know if it comes out. I think it's just to like just to be there. I don't know. It's just like
What in the freak is the purpose of that?
Like a
they're just
glove.
I say prove it.
right. Well, I mean that look. I back in my day they called that just the tip, and that was always a lie. Okay.
Well,
it's just a lie.
it's just like the whole idea of these kids, kids
Bradley, what's
talk
up,
about
bro?
pulling out. It's like, oh my god, if you're so stupid.
That's the thing is like, or no, what's the other thing? Alcohol. It's been making babies since whatever, like forever or whatever. There's like a t-shirt or a meme or something. It's like it's been having keeping the human race alive for however long. It's because you end up with lower standards after a few drinks, and it's like there's something to that. It's always been around too. Alcohol is something we've just never been able to kick.
Lowers inhibition.
All the way back. Yeah, all the way back to as far as we could think. Back to before psychedelics. Maybe not before them, I guess. Maybe
I don't know. I think psychedelics have probably been around since the beginning of time because they're
but we used to use them more for like a ritualistic.
They were smoking. Yeah. They were using marijuana in temples thousands of years ago.
Well, if you believe one of the beginning of the evolution theories,
especially your native people, your indigenous people.
What was that theory? The something ape theory that we all can't. That the reason that humans evolved from apes is because they took psychedelic mushrooms and their brain enhanced.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
I don't believe that.
It's the stoned ape theory.
Yes,
right.
I don't believe that.
I think it's plausible. I mean, like they said that the land was uninhabitable for a long period of time, and then when the plains opened back up and the tree-dwelling apes could come back down to the land, they were scavenging for food and found mushrooms, which opened up portions of their brain that they weren't using before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's plausible
that if we evolved from apes, that it was because they started eating meat.
Shouldn't we be seeing half human, half apes more everywhere if we came from apes?
I mean, have you looked around? Go to uglypeople.com.
Not necessarily, because they say that we all came out of the ocean as well, and there's no fucking people walking around with gills.
Right,
I think
that's how evolution works.
Well, I think there's no other way for us to have made the like the very, what's the word, not drastic, but the very different. We're not that different in race or ethnicity, I should say, but we're pretty different, and I think it happened over a much longer period of time than 4,000, 5,000 years. Like I think it's been a longer time. Remember Pangea? I think how the continents used to be all connected. We also had a similar thing, but for humans, where we were, I forget what the name was, but where we were all like very much the same. Was it with a P as well? There was a term for that where we were in that race is no longer around.
I don't know, but
you know what I mean?
You mean like
there's a study that's been done that every human on Earth came from South Africa.
Yeah. Well, the land that is now South Africa.
No.
Well, those are all theories.
Right.
They haven't really been able to prove any of that. You know,
Well, they say that the DNA tracking is what proved it, that everybody that does the DNA has African in them.
well, that would be a Halpo group, but you know, and I don't know. I mean, it's potentially possible, but I don't know that that proves that we came from apes.
Oh no, I don't.
No, not that. That just proves where
I do
we all
believe
originated.
that all humans probably migrated out of Africa, but like, you know, that could have been I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know. Like, because I do believe that the Earth. I do believe that Pangea existed because the plates move and
Right.
all of that stuff. So, and I believe that eventually all the land masses will be back into one. You know,
Yeah.
land
But-
again.
Yeah, I just saw this video. It's pretty interesting.
Eons.
But you know, so like I don't know that I believe that people came from apes. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of theories and they're interesting, and I've looked at that. I've taught I've had to teach, you know, I taught world history where I had to teach like early humans and stuff like that, and I did a lot of reading and research related to that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Did they
I didn't mean to.
migrate out
On the whole,
or was it Pangea or?
Well, no, actually, Pangea was a misspeak by me because there was no humans on Pangea. It's way before our time. There
How
was
do
a
we know
word.
that?
There's, well, I mean, at least Daddy Google says.
Well, I mean, how do we know that? Because like, there's
Because
so
it
many
was-
things that have yet to be discovered that are buried under.
Well, touche,
How do we
because
know?
I do think we've done this a bunch of times, so there's a very good chance. And if you think that we were placed here by someone else, that you know, you never know how long that was. We've actually found a 250,000-year-old skull that is in the same shape as our skull today, and that not like a Neanderthal or any sort of other misshapen different sect of humans. But like that's pretty intense, though, that we've been around for a lot longer than we think. So,
Well, yeah, definitely. I think, you know,
I'm a big anime fan. You watch anime, Kim?
no, I'm not into that.
Well, Japanese anime is actually pretty legit as far as the stories that they put out. They put out a ton of post-apocalyptic type stories that and also like, you know, prehistoric. My point is like the scenarios that they paint really make you think a lot about us today in reality. Like there's a show called Dr. Stone, and you know, you have to be a little you have to suspend reality just a teeny bit, because all of the people on the planet get frozen in stone. And this one boy, like he's able to like think for, he's in there counting the whole time. And anyway, it's far fetched, but he ends up trying to bring back civilization like 100,000 years later when everything's turned to dust, and he's kind of trying to go back and like think about everything, how we would do it. And so I'm just, my point is, there's a lot of good stories out there that make you think of what might have been the answer, where we came from, because they go through similar situations where they don't know what the stuff was that was before them in the story, but they find these relics, they find hints and stuff. The same thing with us. We find these things that we're like, what is this, you know? And there's a lot of people that theorize that the stuff that they say in the Bible might have other meanings, like such as the Holy Grail could actually mean something completely different. You know, like it could have been like a cup that had like a healing capability, like a technology, you know. Or, there's several things, like what's the other one being, the vest that people had to wear in order to hold the Ark of the Covenant. They think that could have actually just been leftover technology that was able to electrocute a bunch of people, and mishandling it was bad. And that, have you heard of any of this, Alan? Have you heard of some of these theories of how some of the relics may have been technologies.
You know what I want to know? Has
No?
anyone heard of the Book of Enoch?
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I don't know much about
So,
it other
like,
than
those scrolls were found in the same caves that the Bible scrolls were found in. So why are those not true, but yet the Bible is true? I also think that maybe the Bible is not 100% true, and things have been added and taken, and
Well,
mistranslated.
100%, but
But for
Where
the
were
most
these
part, though,
Bible
the Book of
scrolls?
Enoch has a lot of the answers to the questions of the Bible.
Yeah, but when you know the questions, it's easy to come up with. Well, I guess it's not easy to come up. It's easy to make up an answer if there's no way to prove it. You know.
Well, Enoch in the Bible was the only guy that has never died. He just walked to heaven with God.
Yeah.
Huh.
So why
Interesting.
wouldn't he have those answers?
He's in heaven.
No, but he's obviously the scrolls are from
Oh, I
somebody.
see. Yeah, I got you. Huh. Have you heard of this, Grassroots? You're our religious expert tonight, so you gotta.
Oh man, I don't really. I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't really study any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What about the 10th planet?
My focus.
What about Planet X, Grassroots? Have you heard of the planet that's just outside of our view or whatever?
No.
We know it's there because we can see the gravitational. Yeah, Bean knows about it, right, Bean?
Yeah, I mean, we also know about Pluto, and then we didn't, and then we did, and then we didn't.
Was it? And then it was, and it wasn't. We don't even know. We don't know anything. We don't even know about our own planet. We can't even talk about our own planet like we know what we're talking about now.
That's why every time we talk about this, I always say, that's if you believe NASA. That's if you believe what NASA has to say.
I'll tell you what I don't believe. I do not believe that every major entity out there, like Apple, like you were saying, not that you didn't say this specifically, but as if the moon, the camera being able to see the moon was part of like some sort of bigger conspiracy. Like,
no,
I'm not saying you were saying that, but there's a lot of people that believe that everything's controlled by this and that. I think there's definitely people that have their foot on a pedal if they need to do something, but there's no way you can control all of us assholes all at once, because we all are making mistakes every day. We're all saying, fuck it, I'm over this. I'm ready to, like you go, what is it in Japan or is it in China where they have to have nets around their buildings because the people in the offices were just jumping off to their deaths too often?
It's not too far fetched to believe that there are people pulling the strings though, because like we were all born into a society and like the law of the land that we had no choice over. You know what I mean? We just assimilated, to say, for lack of other words, to what the natural way of being, the law of the land was, and we just fell in line with it. Like it's easy to control when you don't know why it's even like this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, in a way,
yeah.
Val?
But again, I don't believe in, just like you just said, you got to either make one of two choices. Either they're all incompetent or they're fucking master manipulators. You can't say both at the same time.
I say somewhere in between. I look at it like I take a sample size where if I've worked at a company that was a decent size, like a warehouse, and there's 20 people in there, you're going to have a percentage of those people that are on either an off day, a totally random mistake that they know they may never normally do. Also the guys that are like, fuck it, the ones that are pissed off, disgruntled, past the point of where I'm not controlled anymore, I'm just going to do something crazy. So like we have so many different stages of people that would actually step out of the quote unquote control. Although I think it's a soft control, to your point. We have the soft tyranny, money. People think money is the root. The whole money is root. We're gonna do an episode on money, on people in the boxes. We're gonna talk finance and money. We're gonna talk finance, money. We're gonna talk crypto. We're gonna talk a few things. I'm trying to get some special guests up on that one. But because I don't look at money as evil, I look at it as representative of my time and effort. So it stands for something. But at the same time, you can get very sidetracked just looking at those dollars, trying to make that number go up, and that may not be the point. The money is a means to be able to do things. You have means.
Money is a reward a job gives you to forget your dreams. It is a way to enslave the masses. We print this dollar, tell them it has value, get them all to believe this and agree on the value, and then now we control it because we control the real value of it.
Yeah, but if we didn't factorize, if we didn't go through the Industrial Revolution and make it the assembly line to the point where, yes, we have the kids going through school in assembly line style schooling sometimes, but if we didn't do that, we wouldn't have the technology we're sitting on right now. Not to say that's good or bad, because maybe it's not so good. But if we did what you were saying, make and keep it more real, and not be able to have cities where there's like a skyscraper of people living, and like you couldn't do that without having money.
I think money was just weaponized against us.
We've always been trading coins, gold coins, like ever since probably before Roman days, huh, Sam?
Yeah.
Coins, been coins since way longer than that.
Trading has been around.
Shells have been used for money.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. I mean, if
$10.
you look at it, some of the earliest written runes, what do you call that? Oh, I can't think of the name of that thing. That big rock over in Mesopotamia that had all the writing, where they kept track of stuff. I can't think of what it's called. But, people have always had a way of, no, not the Rosetta Stone. It was a big, tall one. Oh, no, they had runes back in the
Rosetta Stone?
Yeah.
They had these big runes in Mesopotamia.
Some got loud.
And
yeah,
it wasn't like a written language. It wasn't like they were writing a book or anything, but it like kept tally of things. And I think
it was probably a bookie.
Probably like a 1-foot-long Walgreens.
Track of like how much grain they had, and I can't remember all the stuff that was on it, but they kept track of things, and people,
like a store inventory.
We humans, we want structure, we want consistency and stuff like that. That's why the concept of time was developed. Like we were talking earlier, time is a human construct. And we do that in order to order and structure our lives and make it make sense and make it predictable. Humans, we like our predictability. And so I just think that money is like a function of all of that somehow. If you look at like Native Americans didn't have money, they just existed, and everybody kind of coexisted.
Yeah, but the population.
Well, they worked on the barter system, and also
they still had a barter system. Yeah, because what is a barter system?
But that's not true. The Native Americans were at constant war because they didn't understand.
That you're making would come in handy.
That's true.
So
but Kim, they were at war with each other a lot because of like what he's saying. Well, a lot of them were like more so than what we were taught as kids, with the whole it's our fault, like we're the only ones that we were the aggressors and such.
Yeah,
there is a misnomer there, but to Bean's point, that constant warring is basically the fact that I want your stuff, I'm taking your land. And they didn't do it. They did it differently than us, but yeah, that's kind of the similar.
And they didn't have an understanding of property or actual value. And then the problem is that money came along, currency came along, and then the only way that it had value is we all agreed on its value. You agreed that when I give you this, it's worth that. Like you know what I mean?
The things that I value may not be the things that you value.
That's why we decided on a type of currency. But now it's gotten to the point where the people at the top can change the value on it. They can change the value on us. So now we're no longer agreeing on the value. It's being manipulated.
Well,
that's why I say it's been weaponized against us.
It changed value when we went away from the gold standard.
I'm coming up on my my exit ramp to the bed.
All right, brother.
I'm getting ready to get ready too.
I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. I appreciate you having me on, Waylon.
We're going to re-wrap it up, but thank you, Grassroots. Guys, go check out Grassroots Designs. I'm sorry, is it Grassroots Digital Designs? Yes. It's right there above its head. I see it. So thanks, brother, for hanging out. Peace.
Have a good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
So yeah, we're gonna do the spin, guys. Eventually, like I said, you don't have to
I'm gonna
wait.
go because it's
Yeah.
after 10 o'clock here at my time, and I have to get up at 5 o'clock and be a
That's
teacher
okay.
tomorrow. So, and I'm like exhausted this week. So
It was a compelling topic, and I think that's how you can tell is when everybody's like sucked in much longer than they planned on staying. So thank you guys very much. We could go on and on, I'm sure, but we are here and we're here to stay. And this is what the show is about. We got to live with each other. We got to be able to have these conversations. We can't move forward without it. And I will end it with this. Elon Musk says that the last way that we used to change things or make new laws or make new, like, start over, clean slate instead of stacking laws on top of themselves, is war. That's how it's always been. That was its sort of function. Like, how do you, because right now every day new laws are being written in America, and there's no way, there's nothing set up to like take old laws out. Like no one cares about doing that, so we just keep stacking up on top of it, stuff like rewriting, so like erasing and rewriting. And eventually the only way, and it's like, hey, so we got to have things like this, like people in the boxes, guys. Thanks a lot. Everybody, follow Bean, follow Kim, follow Smashley. Valerie is the greatest, the boss. Thanks, Val. Everybody, you guys have
Follow
anything
me
to
too.
shout out? Are you okay? Well, I didn't know if you were
shout out.
trying to.
Good night. Bye, guys.
Good night, Kim.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Good night. Good night, Smashley. Good night, Bean.
Good
Good night,
night.
John Boy. I like to give you space to
Jim
say
Bob.
something if there's something that you want to say. Anyway,
Wait,
Did you spin the wheel?
yeah. What happened?
I'm just letting you guys leave because Smashley was about to leave. I'm gonna spin it.
Peace out, guys.
Later.
I don't like to let people leave when they're tiny box, like that. Let's just
Yeah.
Nice, Smashley.
But all right, we're gonna spin it. Like I said, nobody had to stay. I'm just gonna let you know.
Oh, I thought you were kicking us all out and you forgot.
Yeah, I thought it was over.
I think I was getting into this like I was ramping into the same spiel, but
You just went on autopilot.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was not anywhere near the end stream button, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Although it's not too far away.
So how do you
Thanks, Craig.
how do you choose who plays on game night now?
Fuck, last week it took too long. I actually would really like it if I could get people. Oh, that's what I should have been talking about all night. I'd love to get people that didn't play last week that can play this week on screen as captains. Get that established ahead of time would be great.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Somebody blow on that wheel.
Oh man, I didn't shuffle either. I didn't shuffle. Look at
There
this.
it goes. There it goes.
Get a double bean.
No.
Bean.
Ah,
Heather got it.
I'll play Sunday. I've been saying I want to do it, but there's a poker game that I play every Sunday, but I think I'm going to start playing on Saturdays.
Oh snap! Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta make that money, bro. But I mean, we do give away several $100s in prizes on people or on game night. So I guess it is what either way. But
Yeah.
I see that you didn't play last week, so we got Bean and Val. Val didn't play last week, so we got 2 team captains already. This is great. I haven't even made the game yet. Wait, no, I'm not looking at last week. I didn't look on the wrong page.
Oh, I was on a team.
Did you win
Nice.
something? Yeah, you won. You won the Drizzle Dab last week. Oh, but
Yeah.
you didn't play. You didn't play as a captain. And guess
No.
what? You get to play as a captain when no one else is jumping in as captain. I did that with Michelle because you know what? If you're a pro member or higher, like you two both are, you should get that privilege. If no one else wants to come on screen to be a team captain, I need captains, and so that gives you another reason, guys out there, to jump up to the next spot. All right, so Miss Heather gets it. Did Heather, and this is kind of cool. If Heather played last week, which she did, but she didn't win, so that means she was able to play this coming week anyway. Which that means she gets 2 spots when she comes in.
Yeah.
She's on 2 different teams or 2 spots on the same team, whatever it is. All right, so Val, I gotcha, and then Bean. I don't even know what we're gonna play, but it'll be something coming out of my head. It's probably still from that DMT trip when I was younger.
I haven't even been able to watch lately, so I don't know what you've been up to. So
Last week I think was pretty. I'm giving myself high marks on that one. What do you think? Val liked it too. I
It was
like.
great. I
It
did
was
love
not. I have critiques of it, but the style of the combination of things that I did, I think worked was cool. This time I'll have to figure something else out. I don't know. I like to change it up. It's like it's kind of like how you don't want to eat the same food all the time. For me, I gotta have something different. All right, cool. I got Heather down for the times 2, and it's
Timothy
becoming more
wants
and more
to
worth it.
play.
Timothy, all right. Oh, you'll be on Bean's team. Well, I used to let people pick teams, but then it would become like pretty lopsided. Now I did actually no. You know what? I went away with that. Went away from that because it was hard to come up with the teams. But this new style actually works a little differently. So we might go back to that. And the reason is, if say Bean has a bunch of friends in the audience and 10 people want to be on Bean's team, but only one person wants to pick a Val's team, that person that picked Val's team is more likely going to get a bunch of prizes, which most people have been pretty nice and like, oh, you know, I want to give it up to somebody else or whatever. But
Good
it would
night,
work out.
Leslie.
Basically, people would naturally separate. Oh, wait, Country Boy Weeds won last week. Let me make sure who won. Yeah, Leslie.
Yeah,
If you didn't leave yet, so you're one of the captains Sunday. If you can play, my friend.
you could just get everybody that wants to be on a team, and then tell like ChatGPT to separate them into random lists.
Well, those are the people. Now, that's the incentive to be on a team is for the people from locals, $2 or more, to show up from that 5:30 to 6 o'clock. So I need them to show up. I want and that's so it's like first come, first serve of the eligible people to get in. And now that part has been a little rough because sometimes I don't have a full bunch of people, or I keep messing up and I'll be like, oh, I got you on a team. And oh, wait, you played last week. Well, I want to try to be fair about it. And I think skipping a week makes sense in order to give everybody a chance to get in there. Perry wants to play. Well, let me check, Perry. Yeah, I'll stay on for a little while, guys, if there's enough people to in order for me to fill out teams now. Perry, you're not going to come on the screen, though, are you? Let me make sure that neither of you. We had Brad and Chris both stopped through. Shane was here, but he won last week. Yeah, okay. Perry. We got Timothy and Perry. So Timothy will go on Bean's team. Perry, I'll put you on Val's team.
Okay.
Is that me or do you guys hear crickets?
Oh no, I'm outside.
It's Beans crickets.
Is it annoying?
No, I like it.
No.
I don't hear those around here right now.
Yeah.
Give me your crickets. No.
You ever see the video where the dude puts a drop of WD-40 on the cricket's legs and it can't chirp anymore? I don't know if it's real, but it was funny as shit.
I think it would probably kill him.
I apologize, Bean. I was reading comments. I just heard a funny joke and I saw you laugh. I missed the words part. At least I'm on. I try to be honest about shit, man. Like I make mistakes like anyone else, but I try to own up to it when I can.
I said, you ever see that video where the dude puts a drop of WD-40 on the cricket's leg so it can't chirp anymore?
Snap. That's messed up.
He's gonna be searching it.
Yeah, that's probably like cruel and unusual.
Yeah.
So we had a guy on Rumble, Master Splinter 44. I didn't notice. The one time I wasn't paying attention to Rumble, we have a new person pop through. Interesting. Had some opinions. I'm not going to get into it. Nothing bad. I just didn't read them all. There's a lot of it.
Oh, Timothy, that's all right.
Anybody else here? I'd love to be a captain again, but my wife has been so sick that I don't want to captain. Oh, yes. Timothy, no problem, my friend. I appreciate you for that because yeah, it can't. Sometimes it goes a little long because the games are brand new each time. So sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Last week was a little long. I'd like to try to make this one a little faster. I thought of one actually, but I'm not going to talk about it to you guys. But now I'm remembering it a little bit. I don't know. I don't want to just keep rehashing old games. I want to try to come up with something else. Anyway, I'm not going to keep
Let's play
talking.
Pokemon. Everybody bring your own cards.
I thought about like getting a video game that is like, say, Wheel of Fortune or whatever, a Family Feud, whatever it is, and I just control. I it's the same controller, and so I would just control everybody's turn.
Why don't we do Poker Night?
Poker Night? Oh no, you really want to get us banned, huh? Oh man, I don't know. I like the D&D ideas, but the D&D is hard to make it about prizes.
And to make it quick.
I don't even know how to play D&D.
Well, it's mostly a lot of dice rolling.
Yeah.
And imagination. You have to make decisions that are like, so the decisions can be anything, but what happens is
Canagrammy.
Good night. Oh, I will play if I remember to be there. Okay, Canagrammy. Hit me up though, because I think it said that you might have accidentally canceled. And I hate to even talk about that live because some people don't, it doesn't. But for me, it's like it could be an error, it could be anything, So if you want to check that out, and then we'll
Craig,
definitely.
You do have to be a member, but
sure.
It's only $2 a month.
Yeah, and I hate to say only myself, but
I know, but yeah. Plus, you have specials.
Oh, yeah, okay. It didn't cancel. It didn't charge. It didn't charge. So you might have to check it out. Sometimes it doesn't. The website, I don't know what's the issue. Like maybe the bank declines it sometimes because it doesn't understand the purchase because it's only it would be the second month. So I'm not sure.
Is the only one that wants to play that's not a member?
Craig.
Yeah, is he the only one that wants to play right now that's not a member? Can I send you the money for his first month? Or do I have to send it to him? Or
if you so my new policy is if you want to give somebody a membership, you pay me and I give them a code for a free month trial or whatever it is.
I'll pay for his first month.
Damn, he said Wednesday PayPal. Yeah, I don't know if you can pay with PayPal anyway, Craig. So if you, or I don't know why I read PayPal. God, jeez. All right.
ADD.
Yeah, well, I've had listen. I actually got some monkey. What is it called? Monkey business and THC sand that I've been smoking tonight. So if you guys didn't realize that, yeah, I've been on a different level tonight. I've been trying to find those elves all night. They're not coming. But no, I did redeem the code.
Are they allowed to play in the first month that they join?
I understand Canagrammy. That must be what that is. I didn't realize that it's sending people a code when you if you cancel, it sends you a code to get a free month.
Huh.
And that doesn't help me because
I'm out.
On my end, well, not because of that, but because on my end it doesn't show me. It doesn't tell me that. It just says to me that it's been 2 months since the charge has gone through.
All right, I'm taking a break for a month.
There you go. Every other month. No, I can shut that off. I thought I did actually. But Canagrammy might be the last one in, getting grandma'd in. But yeah.
Leslie.
What's Leslie say? Come, man. If your buddies holla strip club, you can find a couple ones. Oh, damn, country. Damn. Look at you, Leslie, coming out. We got to find somebody to beat Leslie. He's coming off this high horse of winning twice in a row. So I think he's got that going. We got to find one more captain. The captains that play on the screen. You get an additional chance to win the winning prize. You get a chance to win the Grill Fan box for the month, and you also get a chance to come back to defend your title, to play multiple times in a row. And in order to do that, you have to be a member that's $5 or more monthly. But you know what? I actually meant to say this, and I was going to talk about it on game night. I might have to change that just because of I can't seem to I feel like I have a leak in the boat. Every week I get more people signing up, but the number stays the same. It's like literally it's been happening. And I'm not trying to bitch, but what I'm thinking of doing is trying to make it incentivize it differently and say that you have to be a year member, or you have to have been so many months. You've had to have so many months in order to play in game night. Man, I'm not saying I'm changing guys.
I was just asking about that, if they're allowed to play on their first month.
Oh, you did say that. Yes, you did exactly say that. Well, I have been, and I'm all for it. And I feel like people need to see the value in order to feel like they want to keep going. But at the same time, you guys got to understand my perspective. It just seems to stay there. And it's like, what's going on? And that's because the incentive isn't there for multiple. If you just come in, try to win something, and then
it's like getting into a guaranteed waffle for $2. Because your chances of winning something on game night are extremely high. So you're getting into a guaranteed waffle for $2 and to not renew next month.
And if you pay for the whole year, which is what I might move to anyway, you actually save 2 months. It's $20 instead of $24. I think that's pretty good. $20 for you'd get $20 back the first month. I don't know. And not everybody's into trading, but man, 1 pack of seeds, you probably won over a year's worth, maybe 2 years worth, maybe more worth of it. That's insane.
And I'll tell you what, I'll sit here and toot your horn, because there's a lot of people out here. I know that there's a subscription price for locals and stuff, but there's a lot of people with their subscriptions turned on Facebook that are not giving any value back to the community. So that there's nowhere else in this community that you're getting that much value for what you're putting in.
It's going to get difficult when I get a lot of people, but I'm also hoping that I can find a way to pay someone to help, like admin, or to do some of that work where they're keeping track of who's winning and who's teams. I'd love to have somebody that only takes care of the winners and getting a hold of the sponsors and does that part the next day. And that's really not, it's like an hour's worth of work, but it takes me 2 or 3 days sometimes to get to doing that. It's you got to do that.
I wish I could help you out, but
that's okay. And I'm not looking for anybody that's not.
I told you I wanted to be your executive secretary.
I know, but it's okay, Val. Pain's pain, But I figure there's somebody out there that'll jump in. I'd love to find people locally that believe in it and come in. I actually was thinking about doing game night at a game store, finding a game store to sponsor game night, and where we do it live at a store where, yes, we can have people play from on screen, but also people there. But that's back when I was trying to do everyone was their own team. That was making it much more difficult.
So if you spend a couple dollars and turn your thing into a business, get your tax ID and all that stuff. All you have to do is go to a local college and sign up for an intern. That is going to school for audio, video, or something like that, and you can get an intern for 6 months.
That's a good
interesting.
idea.
But you have to have a business. You have to have the legitimate tax ID number and all that stuff so that you can apply through the school.
Well, I have insurance on a business. I don't know if that means I have a tax ID. I would hope so. Maccabees Live Market, everybody. This show is brought to you by such and type. But that name actually could be a network of other live streamers eventually, like my own show among your show and among Val's show, and like Maccabees Live Market. It's a market of all awesome live streamers. Like it could totally be that as a channel on Rumble. But I don't want to. I can do it right this minute. I just don't want to tax my computer that much. I was doing it for a while where I was running for a full week on loop, the last 5 episodes of my shows, 5 days a week. So I would run them in a loop. And every time I had a new show, I'd tick that one off, put the new one or the newest week one on, and just kept them in a loop. It would be great, except that just keeps your computer running, 24 hours a day all the time. Yeah. And so eventually not good, but I could pay a server to do that. And I could start getting together some of these Can of Fam. I could put the entire NOK network on it, and then some, because I'd have 24 hours a day to fill. I could literally make a giant playlist of every friend I know that goes live to YouTube, and done.
Craig said he's unemployed and bored all day.
And Leslie said he would help you out. Just send him your banking info.
Right, got you, Leslie. Yeah. Craig, where you at, bro? I'm in Illinois. Me and Joe went live for the first time tonight on Facebook. We didn't know what we were doing.
Damn, I didn't get an invite.
What is this?
What happened to the notifications? Fucking Facebook.
You keep books for local bar inventory and ordering because the owners are busy as fuck.
I got one.
Well, I mean, I got plenty of work that can be done by somebody. I want to find a booking agent. I want Bean to be my booker. Just find us talent to come on the show.
Yeah.
Maybe we could get Mess to do that. Maybe I could get Mess involved.
Yeah, I mean, he's out there. He's definitely out there networking.
She said they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what she said first. I'm like you've been on a live before. What are you talking about? You didn't even come up tonight. But we are live in 6 different locations on Facebook, so that's what's up. Thanks a lot, guys, for hitting the like button and sharing and all that. It's been great. We got 52 likes. If you haven't already, hit the like button, please. It's a good conversation. I think it went pretty well. I'm worried about having Fry and Bender on the screen, though. I feel like I might get hit with that. I'm not worried about the Bill Gates. I'm only worried about Fry and Bender. I'm big now.
Just slap my face in the middle of the screen.
I'm gonna do one more dab before I leave. Y'all are welcome to go anytime. But yeah, it's been a good week. I've actually had a hell of a week. Yesterday, did you watch the episode yesterday, Val? Soil Food?
Yeah, I was there.
They were just a wealth of information, man.
I missed the first hour, I think.
It's well worth a rewatch because we just got into it quick about how they actually own like 2 or 3 other businesses, and then they got into worms as well, and so that was a pretty good episode.
You missed the first hour. It was only 45 minutes.
No, we went for a couple hours easy. Those guys can talk too.
Lisa. Cheers, Barry.
Cheers, Perry. I'm gonna do me a cold start. I'm not putting any I'm not putting any of the sand in this way. I have to do, if I'm gonna put any sand on, I get a little bit of the other stuff, the monkey business. THC sand. It's it's pretty potent stuff. Stuff.
Okie doke. Always something new.
Oh yeah, there's always something new, but it's not. It's new, but it's not. It's like we're always adapting things, really.
An internship, by definition, is not a paid position.
Yeah, no, that would definitely be unpaid.
Good night, Margaret.
Good night, Margaret. Margaret's one of the newer members of Locals. Appreciate you. I'm still waiting on Jess to use her code for today. I gave her a code.
On your page, Elisa?
I sent you that for Craig.
Oh yeah, okay. Just in the Kashaps.
Wait, what?
You sent in a Kashap?
Oh yeah,
Because
I thought you were saying a different like a different handle. I'm like, wait, did I send it to the wrong place?
Tarjay? Got a Tarjay. Send me some Kashap.
Cashew. Bless you.
Bless you. Yeah, I'm gonna make that. Actually, I'm gonna do it right now
Yes,
after your stab.
Beanie Timothy's talking to you.
Yeah, so I missed being able to meet you when you came to Virginia. Did you get to visit? I didn't get to visit anybody. I ended up hitting traffic that put me like 2 hours behind, and then I just fucking blanked out and fucking just coasted through. I thought I was still in Maryland, and out of nowhere the GPS is like, "Welcome to North Carolina." Like, what? Yeah, I was fucking cruising.
Who was asking you?
Timothy.
Yeah, Tim.
Oh, you're Virginia. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't keep. I know where some people are. I just don't try. I try not to memorize where everybody's at.
Yeah. Well, there's a decent amount of people that watch over in Virginia. Like me and Mess are going to plan a trip over there, and we're actually planning to
All around there.
go all around the country.
That would be
Start
fun,
with the East
man.
Coast.
Shut up.
Well,
You ain't
I
coming
tell you
here.
what, I want to do the same thing, but I want to go touring like farms and stuff.
Yeah.
And events in general, you know. But like we could kind of kill multiple birds here. You could set up a schedule of events, and then schedule people that live near that event to come and meet up somewhere around it. You know.
Yeah.
I like that
I
idea.
think it's cool just to go out and visit everybody. You go fucking shoot the shit, smoke, do a live.
Oh shit.
But yeah, the first one we're gonna do is Virginia.
Meet Virginia. Bow, 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 bow.
And I just pushed my surgery out 8 months, so that's gonna start sooner than I
8
thought.
months.
Up. You push it up.
No, out. Push it out 8 months.
Oh, so
I thought it was
so further away.
Yeah, it was supposed to be within like the next couple of days.
Oh
But
man.
You got cold
insurance
feet?
I'm
no,
sorry.
the insurance has
Never
been fucking me, dude. Like,
You know.
what? I back in November, like whenever the open enrollment period started, I signed up and I bought insurance. I told them exactly what I needed it for. I only needed fucking 3 things. I need to be able to see my surgeon. I need to be able to go to this hospital. I need to be able to get the surgery. They promised me up and down that that's all covered. Then I went to the doctor. It wasn't covered. So then I canceled that insurance, got new insurance, which I paid 10 times the amount of the original insurance for. Same thing. They swore up and down that they would take this insurance. Didn't take it. So I canceled my insurance and said, fuck it. I'm going to wait until I got the money up to just pay for it.
See, this is why the medical system gets such a bad name, because they jack you around from one end to the other. Insurance companies do not give a fuck.
Well, the problem I'm dealing with is I just dealt with bad salespeople. I dealt with people that wanted to make the money off of me and didn't give a fuck what it covered. Because when I walk out that door, it's not in their hands anymore. They made their commission. Like,
fucking sharks.
yeah, and that's what I talked to the people to cancel it, and it was like the nicest dude in the world. He's like, I'm gonna put a complaint on that guy that sold you this. Like, he's like, yeah, he shouldn't have done that. Like, I told him, like, I was on the phone with this guy for an hour and a half, telling him exactly what I needed, and he's like, yeah, that dude ought to be fired. But yeah, I mean, it's not life or death. So as long as I just keep my diet in order, it's not life or death. I can push it out 5 years if I want, but
yeah,
as long as I don't have any more flare-ups. But
Well, I
Figured.
would then, before you
How
have
about-
surgery, look into stem cells for it. I don't know what the
Yeah.
surgery is specifically, but look at other things too, man. Because it's
There
not
are
only the
treatments.
insurance company, it's the medical industry, not fucking you on purpose, but like they don't know all the alternatives out there going on right now. They don't have
Yeah.
time to pay attention to all that. They got too many patients, you know.
Well, and I'm dealing directly with the surgeon as well, so he wants to do the surgery. Like,
Right.
Get my
But you're gonna
hands
save the money up for a surgery, bro. Stem cell shots are like $2,000 to $4,000.
My
Versus
surgery's
surgery?
$4,000.
Yeah, might be a shot versus like them cutting into you and rearranging shit.
I'll look
Well, it's
into
not
it.
just a shot. I mean, it's a little more complicated, but
Well, you take rounds of it, like there's multiple injections, but they have to inject it into the specific area. They have to take some of your cells, they reprogram them.
Oh my God. When I was in the hospital, they told me that I needed to take this injection to make sure that my blood doesn't clot from laying in the bed all day. And they said that they have to inject it into my stomach. And they pulled this needle out. And I was like, what is the alternative? Dude, this needle was that big. I'm not playing. That thing was that big.
I've given those shots. It's only that big.
I swear the needle that they pulled out was that big. I was like, what is the alternative? Well, I was like, what's the alternative? They're like, you have two choices: take the shot or get up and walk around. I was like, I'll get up. I'm not staying in this bed. I'm gonna walk.
Somebody's
Maybe
fucking
they
with
wanted
you
you to walk.
because they give it. in the
Show us
stomach.
again, Val. Your hands were off screen. What? Like that?
It's called a TB syringe. It's the smallest freaking syringe and needle there is.
Oh no, they wanted to put this dagger in me.
In your stomach.
Yeah.
Into
In my
what?
gut. Huh?
Directly into your intestine?
I don't know.
No.
They wanted to put it into my gut.
No. The shot that's given in your stomach to prevent clotting is called heparin. And there's other ones. And it's given with it. I need a little TB syringe. Would you stop?
And I asked them, is it going to hurt? Like, is it bad? And they're like, yeah, it sucks.
I will have to look into that.
I mean, you know, they might have a new needle now.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but when they pulled that thing out, I was like, you are not touching me with that. You put me to sleep to touch me with that. And I don't even, like, I'm not even squeamish when it comes to needles, but that thing actually, I became more squeamish not squeamish, just I don't want anything to do with them, because have you ever gotten a shot in your ass?
Oh, yeah. It's not in your ass, it's in your muscle, but yeah.
Yeah, dude. I took that in my ass, and that pain was so bad that I passed out. Like I woke up with the nurses over me and the doctor's laughing. He's like, "Dude, you went down like a ton of bricks."
It happens.
Yeah, that hurt.
Give it in a large muscle.
Oh my God! And I got one in the arm too. Like after I got one in the butt, I remembered how bad that hurt, and they were like, "You have the choice between your butt or your arm." Dude, the arm hurt way worse.
Oh, hell yeah. Smaller muscle.
Yep, straight to the bone.
Oh my God.
No, you hit the bone, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, because it goes into the muscle and then it like tears a pocket for
That's what I'm
when
saying,
you make the
Tim.
injection.
Well, there's a thing called a Z-track where you actually pinch up the fat on the gluteus maximus, you pull it up, pull it over, give the injection, and throw the muscle back. It's called a Z-track.
What does that do?
It's for deep tissue injection for medications that are injurious to your body.
Yeah.
To your
So does that make it not hurt as bad?
Oh, no. I don't even know if they give those anymore. I've only done
I
two.
don't know when I became such a bitch about pain. Like, I've never pain never bothered me. Like I broke my arm and laughed it off. Like, but
It's
now,
because
like,
we have
It's that
alternatives.
threshold. There's a threshold, and after that,
yeah,
I think you can be conditioned to handle more pain. It's just that we have been conditioned to handle less pain.
yeah. And as you get older, you don't really put yourself in positions to feel
I've
the
had
pain
3
of a
babies. So
child.
Well, but that gives us more. That gives us pain in different ways. Like there is absolutely more pain and suffering when you sit and do nothing.
Yeah,
Like you will eventually have, like you said, that like you had sores, blood clots. Like if you actually sat still
yeah,
and did nothing, like you would have like from not exercising, you might start cramping easier. You might have you might injure yourself much easier. You might twist an ankle easier because you're not as active. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of
use
the
it
yeah,
or lose it.
yeah.
yeah.
So you want to
Like-
know a crazy fear I had while I was in the hospital?
The what?
The-
I'm sorry.
Dude, I'm terrified of this. And nurses all were laughing at me, told me I'm just being crazy. But if I saw a single bubble roll up my IV,
Later, brothers.
I'd turn it off. I'm pinching it shut, calling nurses in, like, yo, get the fuck in here and fix this shit. Like, yeah. The one nurse put a half-empty tube. Like she walked out of the room and the tube was pushing, like half of the fucking tube was air, and it's just crawling up towards my arm. And like I pinched that shit off, called him. I'm like, yo, get the fuck in here. Like, that's
But
terrifying.
They were
Because-
wrong to laugh at you. But
Yeah,
the risk is low.
yeah.
But
Well-
that much, no. I would. Whenever I did an IV, there were no bubbles in that sucker.
well,
Well,
I
they
actually
have a
looked
valve,
into it, and it has to actually be a lot of air, and it has to be coming at a fast rate.
Right.
Yeah,
Not just a single bubble like in the movies. Like
nah.
well,
So-
There's such a thing as an air embolism that can kill you, but not through an
Yeah.
IV normally.
When I was like 5 years ago, I was working at a powder coating shop, and I was working with air, and I had a deep cut in my hand, and I was working with an air gun, and I blew air straight into the cut. I felt it go all the way up my arm. So I grabbed it. I grabbed it here, and I put pressure and shoved it down my arm, and you could see it bubbling out of the cut. Like, I called the ambulance, and Sydney's like, "Dude, you saved your own life." Yeah, he's like, "You saved your own life right there." Well, I'm running.
Oh man.
The air gun is 90 psi. You know what I mean? Like I shot air in my arm at 90 psi and caught it before it got up to my fucking shoulder. Like,
Oh my
so
god.
much.
yeah.
Like that just shows you like the pain. Like you can handle pain, but we have an instinct to be
Right.
adverse to pain. And
Restoration.
so the more we can get away from pain, the more that we will drive ourselves to it. But then we also know that we need to struggle to grow and to be stronger. And
Yeah.
so it's like this crazy. But that's why I keep coming back to use it to our advantage. Use it to our advantage. We need exercise, right? Well, why not? Like my idea. And listen, guys, take it. You do it too, guys. You do this too. Go out there, make a gym, create a gym, just like every other gym, except every piece of exercise equipment in there pumps water up to a water tower, and then the water tower generates hydroelectricity for the local town, or for that gym at least. Like, or even if it's only half of what that gym uses, even if it's only a quarter of what that gym uses, why the fuck not use the power that is being generated inside there instead of what do? We take kids to the park. What's the main reason we take kids to the park? I've talked about this before.
To burn off energy.
To burn off energy. We're just going,
Make them
bye-bye,
tired.
the energy's just going bye-bye. Well,
So,
I'm thinking, why not make playground equipment that pumps water for fun? The kids get to watch it go through tubes. Oh, look at it pumping water. And they're
Child
jumping on
labor
it.
laws.
Yes, but that's what I mean. You make it fun. You make it part of the like. There's no laws against how fast or how a kid has to like spin a merry-go-round.
Well, somebody would make a stink. You know they would.
Yeah, you're
That's
right.
a great idea, though. I mean, if
Do it in
they can
Singapore.
make it work, yeah.
I don't mean like
Yeah, that's scary, Timothy.
But they've taken all moving parts out of parks now.
Yeah, that's true. But the same,
There's
the
no
same thing goes
seesaw,
with
no
adults.
merry-go-rounds.
Yeah. Actually, there's some older ones. I have a merry-go-round by my mom's house, and yeah, it's dangerous as fuck. And I'll be up there. My kids just, but my point is that even adults can be exploited in that way. What if I chained you to that exercise equipment and I forced you to generate electricity for me? You know, slavery or whatever it is. But if instead we incentivize it by paying you a portion of what you've earned instead of you having to pay to go to the gym, like Bean buys his, we have a local thing called Planet Fitness, and you get your $10 a month Planet Fitness pass, and you just never go, like a whole bunch of the people that do that with gym membership. Fine, okay, cool, you paid your $10. But if you decide to go and you go whatever, and there's a measurement of some kind, how gallons of water, energy that you've produced, whatever it is, and you go so much, okay, now your membership was free that month. And then you go a little bit more, oh, you've made a few bucks that month, kind of like maybe donating plasma or something. So if we do that, that's going to incentivize several different groups of people, several different types of people that want to save the planet, people that want to work out, but just they're not that fat yet. Like, I don't want to go in just right now. I'm not that. Or the people that need a little extra money, you know, the people that already go to gyms but would rather not have to pay for it. Like, so many different people would be attracted to that. And I know
I think that's a great idea. Did you hear that pitched, or did you come up with that?
Sometimes, Timothy. No, I came up with this. But there are bikes out there right now that generate electricity. I just think that people, everything I think about is about incentivizing people. What are you whatting me about the white face?
Sometimes you have makeup on? Is that what you're saying?
He says I have a white face. I'm like, sometimes. But no, I'm just saying people work off of incentive. And if I personally think more people should exercise, then I shouldn't be out there going, hey, you should exercise. Come on, guys, do it. Like, look at what I'm doing. Do what I'm doing. Come on, let's exercise. That's not going to get people to want to exercise. But there's a lot of ways to get them to be incentivized to do it, you know?
Yeah.
What, Val?
I think that.
What, Val?
You do look white and your eyes are red. And
Because I'm leaning forward.
Okay, see, that's what I thought it was, your camera. That's not creepy.
Do the creep. Do the creep. That's what we get in the after show. Woo woo. Actually, I do want to start doing an after show specifically somewhere like maybe on Locals, where it's like a paid after show eventually, you know, where, hey, you got to be in the club to catch that, you know.
Yeah, you want to continue hanging out? You got to pay for it. I mean, that's what a lot of podcasts do. They do the free on YouTube, and then, hey, the second half of this show is on Patreon or whatever. Like,
yep, exactly. It's exactly what a lot of them do. And you know what? Almost, I would say, 2/3 of the audience tonight were Locals members anyway.
Yeah.
So I can look at that wheel that's still up, and I could tell you right now, like almost all of them were. And so they could all easily just pop over. And in fact, I could actually make it non-supporter only. It could be for free, but you just have to have a login and be able to go over there. Anyway, this has gone off the rails. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to go get something to eat. And I got to get up and make the lunch, get the breakfast going, cook the sausages all at, before 8 o'clock. And then I can go back and take a nap. But I got to get out of doing that. That's why I got to shorten the show. I got to shorten the shows a little bit. Tonight we had fun, but I got to be more. I got to be like 2 hours. Oh, guys, we hit the 2 hour mark. 2:01. All right, it's out.
You get a 15-minute warning. Get your last thoughts out.
Oh yeah, because I told Kim before the show, I was like, yeah, we can go all night on this one, so it's going to be a big one. But
and you could go into the Jerry Springer final thought.
Do like a monologuing, like
right.
All right. Well, maybe I'll have a.
Babies are important, folks. So make sure you get your children spayed and neutered.
Nice final thoughts will be. You know how some podcasters will have like their paperwork in front of them. It's like, do you really have like I had an outline for last night's show, which was like 4 lines of like a couple words on each, like don't forget this, don't forget that, you know.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I didn't have like 6 different sheets of all right, everybody. It's been fun. It's been real. It ain't been real fun, but it's been a blast. Peace out.
I feel
Good
better.
night.
Later.
Good night, Val. Good
Y'all,
night.
peace.
Dean. Make sure I don't have an echo when I do this. Good night. Join us on game night, Sunday, 5:30 Central Time. Come on back.